And we are live again. WrestlePurists Podcast, hosted by myself, Joe Hulbert, Charlie. We're supposed to be joined by Big AO, but he's been he's drowning in work at the moment. A bunch of stuff hit his desk last minute, and he can't make it. Maybe he'll make it a bit later on. But anyway, back again for your favorite AEW Dynamite show. Got a lot to get into. WrestleKingdom 18, a few news bits here and there. Of course, like I said, AEW Dynamite. We're going to do a review. But yeah, first things first, please like, subscribe, super chat, any questions, any takes, any opinions, any reactions to any of the shows that we're going to talk about. But yeah, hope everyone's doing good. Continuing a good new year. Starting with my fellow co-host, Charlie. What's going on with you?
Hello. I'm doing really well. I finally recovered from my New Year's Eve weekend because I spent it in Worthing and then I was in London because I was watching wrestling and then drinking because it was New Year's Eve. But so finally recovered from that and finally recovered from being up for like 24 hours because Dynamite and WrestleKingdom back to back is kind of brutal and I did not sleep in between, but it was worth it because the graps were great and I'm ready to talk about it. So, yeah.
Real responsible way to spend your New Year's Eve, you know? That's how it should be done. Joe Hulbert. What's going on with you, man? You've been busy. I've hardly heard of you. You know, this will be our longest conversation this week, probably.
I'm a mess, man. This is a crazy week. Next week I'll be back to normal and watching the professional wrestling that we talk about. But this week, and I said this to you on like Tuesday, I think I was like, I've just allocated time so I'll be able to make the Dynamite show because I actively made a point I'd be making it last week. So this was like the thing I could lock in. But other than that, I've not seen much professional wrestling, unfortunately, which in recent memory has been an outlier for me. But I'm here nonetheless. I'm doing okay. I'm wearing a Nitro hat. I have a Coca-Cola here to my side, which is not a political statement regarding a former Pepsi icon. I'm here to discuss professional wrestling. Hell of a show we got to talk about. So, I mean, the other show, Charlie's going to carry us, but Dynamite, we got some real good stuff to get into here.
Yeah, it was a good show, man. It was a good show. Both good shows, you know, from what I saw of Wrestle Kingdom. Very, very long show that started at like 7:30 a.m. and unfortunately, I couldn't balance out my sleep schedule with watching AEW Dynamite and watching the entirety of Tokyo Dome show. So I only managed to watch about half of it, probably less than that, to be honest. But Charlie, you managed to. You haven't slept, basically. You know,
I've had a nap, but
it's as good as it gets.
This is good as it gets. Yeah, I will sleep so well tonight.
Starting podcasts at 15 minutes to midnight. You know, this is the WrestlePurists grind, Joe. You know, this is the WrestlePurists British grind. So before all of our American friends jump on Twitter and slander the British opinions on professional wrestling, just think that we're up at these times, so we probably are a little bit grumpier than some of you guys, you know. But anyway, let's get some super chats read out. Anurag, 100 rupees, appreciate it as always. How can Dragon have all these matches that are great yet so different? There's something in his matches, it leaves you wanting more. Yes, chants in the Dome were special.
He's pretty good in AEW. Yeah, he's pretty good.
He's very, very special.
I was watching him today and I was thinking, decent wrestler. Mate, that performance today was I actually think that's one of his best performances in like. I think that's one of his all-time great performances, and considering the form he's been in, that's kind of crazy. But he was so locked in today. My God, what a wrestler!
Yeah, it was special. Watching that live was crazy.
Yeah.
The thing is with Bryan Danielson, when you say it's one of his all-time matches, it's like how long is the list of Bryan? Like how long is the list of Bryans, or like what is the cream of the crop of Bryan Danielson's list?
I don't think it's an all-time Dragon match per se, but performance, I thought he was like super on. Now, I think the finish arrived like ever so slightly abrupt. It felt like they could have bridged even more. Like, I was really hoping he was going to kick out. Which I think just slightly stopped it from going forward, like, you know, insane. But his performance, just the focus he wrestles with, you know, everything he does is so measured and deliberate, incredible.
Yeah, he's very, very special. Bam, $5. Appreciate you as always, Monty. Sorry, but I have to ask the hard questions. Did you give back up your blessings to start negotiations with AEW last night? Hashtag push AO Joe Charlie Goat. We're gonna have to address this.
Yeah, we are.
I did say I'm gonna get lawyers involved and let them handle it, but I guess we can kind of like touch on it a little bit. Ibu has. Clearly, he seems happy enough to post pictures with, other promotions owners and wearing their merchandise, and he's doing all these things that he knows could get him in trouble with us, and get himself fined, suspended, have to deal with forfeits and these kind of things, Joe Hulbert. And, last night he went to the AEW show and he knows he shouldn't have done some of the things that he did. So he will be getting fined. There is a meeting set up with the board of directors, and we're gonna try and figure this out. But it's not looking good for either of WrestlePurists at the moment. Sorry, guys.
It's not. I think everyone should take this as a chance to learn, right? Learn from Ibu's mistakes, particularly in terms of wardrobe. Consider what you're going to wear before you take a step out the door. If you'd have just had a WCW Monday Nitro hat on, I think the controversy is cut in half. But he went the whole way, and look, when you never go full fleet, you don't go full fed, you don't go full fleet. He went full fucking fleet. I woke up this morning, I saw that, I said, "My God, they're gonna lock him up." Full fleet on the 3rd or the 4th of January. It was the 3rd, bro. That's crazy.
It's like I said, we're gonna. I don't know. Don't know whether to be mad, disappointed, relieved. I know some people would be relieved.
Relieved.
Yeah, we're gonna figure it out. Showdown Spurs, $5, appreciate it. So I watched the darts for the first time. It rules. Who's most likely faking their age? Obafemi at 22 or Luke Littler at 16?
Luke Littler is this. There was actually this is wrestling related too. I don't know if you guys saw this.
I've seen this picture.
The biggest evidence that he's actually 16 was there was a picture of him as a kid with his wrestling figures, and it was like the Shield, Claudio. It was all like the 2015, 2014.
Yeah, Dean Ambrose, and that was very funny.
So I think he's telling the truth. I can't comment on Obafemi. That's Monty business. I don't even speak on him. But yeah.
That's what his university records say, bro.
Yeah.
Little Smoke, $4.99, appreciate it as always. He's a wanted man, not giving Finley the match of his life. Listen, it's not a crazy shout. Crazy shout.
It's so funny. I can't wait. I genuinely am so excited.
Yeah, so I did path. We're definitely going to get into our good friend Nick Nemeth, Maz fan 84-199, appreciate it as always. Takeshita Derby, Ali was like watching adult fighting a kid. I mean, it's one way of putting it. Matt Roykeel, excuse me if I'm not pronouncing that properly, $4.99, appreciate you though. Wanted to get your guys' opinion on if Mercedes were to debut in Jacksonville. Danielson versus Okada was amazing. Danielson versus Okada was amazing. If Mercedes debuts in Jacksonville, they're doing daily plays next week. Is that what it is?
Yeah, and I definitely could see them wanting to give that kind of a signature moment. They haven't been there for a while, right?
Yeah.
Haven't been back there for a while. Look, I think we're all very hesitant to make bold predictions in regards to Mercedes. It sure feels like that's where we're trending based on people that are much more knowledgeable on the matter than I. But even those people will very happily give you the disclaimer of it's Mercedes, right? And nothing's for sure until it's in front of our eyes and happening. Until you see that graphic, you see her walk out on TV, you don't know. I would assume she debuts in Jacksonville. In what slot that is or what the situation is, I don't know. But I would guess so, personally, yeah.
I think it'd make sense. And I honestly think you just open a show with her. Just announce that you have a... we all hate Tony Khan's big announcements, but you gotta do something to get people to be paying attention to it. And just open a show with her. Just go balls to the wall with it. Like,
Get that
just
big
have a
lead in as
Mercedes
well.
15 minutes. Yeah.
Get the big lead in.
Exactly.
It's always the top quarter of the of the show. You know, show
Roll out
those
the
million
red
people Mercedes, man. You know, so
carpet.
Yeah, you could promote that on Collision too. You have like a hook there, you know, like you can. I do think if you've done this deal, you do need to like get ready to go full victory lap. It's a huge one. You don't want to just have her debut. Like for example, I like Deonna Purrazzo a lot, and we'll talk about her debut. And I'm happy she's in AEW, but like you don't want to give her like a kind of like just a cool debut like that, right? You want it to be like an event, a happening.
Yes.
Mercedes, man, it's a huge, huge deal. So, yeah, I agree. It's definitely something you want to frame correctly.
Yuzura Hart, $5. Appreciate you as always. Takeshita versus Darby, Mariah versus Aminata were so excellent, and they happened back to back on the show. Joe, say it. Say it.
I love AEW.
We do. Andrew the Giant, £5. Appreciate it. Has Ibu been contacted by Triple H to inform him his Raw propaganda payments are being stopped immediately? I'm not sure about that. But he's doing a lot of under the table deals. Ibu is clearly. Like I said, maybe an investigation into his funds or something for that matter. Bro, 199. Appreciate it as always. When do y'all think Ospreay shows up on AEW TV? Good question.
Isn't there a poster he's on? When do they run Canada again? Isn't he on that?
Isn't it?
Yeah, I swear he's on the graphics there.
Because I remember him tweeting my first day on the job's in hell or whatever, something like that.
Yeah.
He's in the UK February 18th. Obviously, he's staying based in the UK, but he's in the UK February 18th because that's his last Rev Pro show. So probably the week before that, if I had to guess.
Okay.
We'll see. Don Tassimo.
True.
199. Appreciate it. Mashup versus Miyu and Mayu versus Shuri are must watch. Yeah, I need to get around to those. I didn't manage to watch any of the Stardom or the TJPW show. So
it was cool though. Like I missed WrestleKingdom other than the one match, and I tweeted like, "I'm bummed I missed it. What do I need to catch up on?" And both those matches got as much love as like anything on the actual Dome show, which is pretty cool. A lot of people watch that whole block of wrestling, which is awesome. So, yeah, I got to catch up. They'll probably be in the guide next week, I think.
Yeah, well, we didn't get the guide this week, people, and it's a lot of people. We did get a lot of like hate mail.
I did notice, yeah.
So hopefully we can avoid that next week when Hulbert gets back to work. We need to get him his pen back.
I was surprised it made it to ITV News that I didn't do one. I must admit, I thought it was a little bit much. Not that big of a deal, really. But
yeah, our PR team was. It's been through a lot this week,
Yeah.
Jacob Donnelly, $5. Appreciate it. Awesome Dynamite last night, but beyond tired of international champion Orange Cassidy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not exactly a disgraceful hot take to have, I mean, I still enjoy his matches. Yeah. He's a good wrestler, but it's like there's nothing to get your teeth into with that reign, like this second reign.
No.
It's a weird one because it's what everyone worried when he got the belt back, and at first it was like, oh, maybe this will be okay, and now it's just kind of it feels redundant,
It does, yeah. And again, it's like it's not an insult to him as much as a compliment to him. We all wanted him to kind of move on to something different. I mean, it feels like redundant, as you said. So we'll get into the match. Like, I think it was a miss by any means, but I did think it was noticeable. Like, how much can you care at this point about the obvious latest Orange Cassidy defense? It's difficult.
Yeah, especially when obviously because it's it's not the world title, so it's like the opponents are always going to be at a certain level in most cases. Obviously, Mox was. That's why the Mox stuff kind of felt special because obviously it's a big star in Orange Cassidy trying to overcome this Terminator, But yeah, if and I like your Dante Martins of the world, and really happy to see him back, and even getting these sort of singles matches, like singles title matches. But it's like you can't really buy into it, You can still appreciate the good wrestling and stuff like. Do you know what I mean? But it's like you can't you can't lock in on it. So
Yeah.
I mean, we'll see. Hopefully, they can heat up a few for Cassidy to drop the belt, so he isn't just like dropping it, like get it off me, because
Yeah.
I
It feels-
always think that's unfortunate.
I could be wrong because when they did this with the firm, it didn't pay off at all. But it feels like Roddy making a point of that belt was like, surely that's where they're going, right? In the opening promo,
It would be
Cole made a
nice.
point
I'd
of
love to
it.
see Roddy get a singles title
Yeah.
on national television. But
That's what I mean. I was almost hesitant to bring it up because it feels so like obviously, of course, I would say that, but it did feel deliberate, and
Yeah.
because Roddy's hardly actually wrestled really over his 9 months in AEW.
Crazy.
It would be super fresh him having like weekly, sicko TV
yeah, of
title
course,
defenses.
yeah,
Mhm.
100%.
Oh my god, before we get into anything else, did you guys see the match graphic for the Jericho Cruise, like the first match graphic that's been put out?
Yeah, I
I've
did.
not seen it. I
Oh
saw a
my
couple
God,
headlines, but I didn't see it myself.
I need to. So it's Jericho, Paul White, and Speedball Mike Bailey versus Will Hobbs, Kyle Fletcher, and Mark Davis.
Mark's back. What's the date on it?
Mark's back. It's I didn't pay that much attention. I kind of saw the graphic. I was like, what the fuck's going on?
You didn't order a ticket?
Bro, it's on the Jericho Cruise.
Yeah, I don't think. I don't
It's not
think I'll ever.
televised. Not taped.
I'm not a cruise kind of guy. Never mind the Jericho cruise.
Christ, no. But yeah. Mark Davis is back though. God bless.
Yeah,
I just
we have a
saw
funny chat.
Yeah.
Anyway, a couple of super chats left, and we'll get into some of these reviews. I guess it's what we're here for. Anwar Starwind, appreciate it, $5. Was that the best WrestleKingdom since 2020? American Dragon versus Okada was amazing. I didn't watch the show back to front, so I wouldn't be able to give a fair opinion. But
we should just say yes, I think.
Yeah.
What does Cage Match say?
I loved last year's show. I watched last year's show.
Something.
Last year's show I watched live on the air, and I thought it was awesome. But I may just be remembering it that way because I was on the air.
Who's you on the air with? Do you remember?
Oh, it was a whole crew. It was like Manny, Alex, Dukes, Matt was there. It was the whole thing.
Yeah.
That's it. When we got that clip where we all jump up when what did Omega and Ospreay do on the top rope? He DDT'd him on the top rope. Remember on the buckle?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
We all leapt up. That match was Omega Ospreay, folks. Again, another hot take from me. I'm bringing him tonight. Great fucking match. Throwing it out there.
Really fucking was.
We're gonna kill you on Twitter for that one.
Yeah, man. Clip it up, folks. Come get me.
I think I did enjoy this year's more than last year's.
It seems like people did, yeah.
Sold the most tickets since 2016, I think it was.
Something like that, yeah.
That's cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, 27,422 was the announced attendance, I believe.
God bless.
Yeah, Hush, $2. Appreciate you. You guys think New Japan knew who Ryan Nemeth was, lol?
No.
I mean, they're giving permission to fucking walk out there, so...
He was not tagged in any of the social media posts. It was I felt so bad for him.
When Dolph sat down, the camera was only on him.
Yes. It was like the fucking Mike Wazowski thing, just cut half out of frame. It was very funny. Poor Ryan Nemeth. I'm sure he was happy to be there.
Yeah, I'm sure he was, nice holiday,
Yeah.
Good seats.
Yeah.
Got good seats.
Support his brother in his new endeavours.
Absolutely.
What could you want?
He might get a little tag match out of it on the tour,
He might be on New Year's Dash tomorrow. Who knows?
You never know. Anyway. What should we start? I feel like we should start with Dynamite. Because it happened first, didn't it?
Sure did.
And that's what this show is, it's the AEW Dynamite review. Mm-hmm. So let's get to it. We're nearly 20 minutes in, and we're gonna get to it. So AEW Dynamite in New Jersey. What was the venue at the Prudential Center? Is that right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, man. AEW Dynamite, first one of the. Was it the first one? Yeah, it was the first one of the year. First one of the year. Get confused because it was called. What was it called? The New Year's Smash last week, even though it wasn't technically the New Year yet. Anyway, getting distracted all over the place. World's End firmly in the rearview mirror. and we open up with Samoa Joe cutting a promo about basically getting his vengeance on MJF. You know, MJF had to do everything in his power to defeat Samoa Joe at Grand Slam, and Samoa Joe was never going to live it down. And he was always plotting on him, and he was always going to get him back tenfold, and he did. He turned everybody that he loves against him, etc., etc. And it was just Samoa Joe. He can talk that shit, Joe. It's what Samoa Joe does. You know, It's what he does. I'm sure this popped you as much as it did me, and I'll never complain at Samoa Joe getting mic time, pre-tape time, anything like that to let the big man speak. You know,
for sure. Yeah, it was a really good promo, and also I love the. You know, it's a little thing, but we have to be honest. This is something AEW, I think, traditionally have struggled with. Where like, I think there's a time in AEW history, as much as we would have liked it, this would have been like jammed in like the 40-minute mark or somewhere. They open with this, and it like it was the best they could do without Joe being there to make it clear it was a happening. So I thought the placement was right. I liked the way that kind of set the tone for a new year, and he's always a good promo, right? I mean, this one was no different. So yeah, for sure. And this was a positive and a good way to start the show. And I'm excited to see what Joe does with this belt. Like, I think all of us are aware that it's going to be a short reign.
Yeah.
But I think that is actually fun in itself, even if it wasn't Joe. We need to get, I think, a little bit more kind of loose with these title reigns after the last one. So yeah, this was positive all around and a good way to start the show.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it, Charlie? You know, I'm not mad at Dynamite opening up like this, especially if Joe couldn't be there. Like Joe said, like if Samoa Joe's not going to be on the show, it's probably as best as you can do. If you're going to do the pre-tape, don't put it in at 43 minutes into the show after the after the second
brand
match.
New world champion. Like,
yes.
You had a statement to make, and they made it opening the show with this. It very much set the tone for Dynamite, I felt. Joe's a great talker. I'm very excited for this title reign, and I hope he just gets a bunch of cool TV defenses before he drops it, because he'll probably drop it at Revolution, which isn't the worst thing in the world. I'm very much here for a nice, fun, fresh reign that doesn't go on for a year. I'm very here for it.
Yeah, as Joe touched on, especially after the longest reign that the company's had in its, we're coming up on like the 5-year anniversary. I know it was 5 years since the announcement on New Year's Day, but play with his total reign a little bit. Let's do some cool stuff. Like Samoa Joe's currently the world champion, so that is what they're doing. They're doing cool stuff that I like. So
right. I think Charlie's right to make the point of, considering how this show ended, I think it's pretty clear where they're going. But I hope they do keep in mind, what Charlie was saying about this. Get some of those cool TV main events. Joe feels so well suited to those, right, as champ. Like, just get a couple of them. I don't even mind who, really. I just think that's such an easy TV. Like, the world's title on the line is Samoa Joe. Like, sounds good to me. It sounds fun. It sounds fresh. So hopefully we get a couple of them on the road to Revolution for sure.
Yeah, need it. You got Samoa Joe as your champ. It's listen, I know he's in his 40s. He's in his 40s, and we call him the big man, and I'm sure it's not easy for him. But if he can dig deep for the next 3 months or so,
I want them to do like an outside, like a Shingo, for example. If ever there was a time to just throw a graphic up for a world title match, it feels like Joe's the perfect champ for that, right? Like,
100%.
Samoa Joe versus Shingo for the world's title on TV. Like, cool. I'm in.
I mean, Shingo's taking dates outside of New Japan at the moment. Like, he's going to be in the UK in February. So, Tony, get on the phone. Book it.
If not, please. We will settle for Tomohiro Ishii. So, just saying.
We sure will settle. Yeah.
We'll take it, That's all we can get.
Man. It's like Sabre Jr.'s freshly lost the belt. If we're getting people in.
Hey.
We're still owed that match too.
We are. That match.
Didn't they tag together?
Yeah, they did a tag match.
They did. Yes. Very funny.
The TV champs coming face to face, and Joe just was like, "Yeah, I don't care for this."
It was weird, yeah.
We love Samoa Joe, if you can't tell.
Yeah, we do.
All right, so the first actual segment on the show, live segment anyway, was Adam Cole, who's here to explain himself. you know, and it starts off with his normal music, and then it switches up to something. Something. I guess it's kind of more
Well,
your
it wasn't something for
cliche Adam
you.
Cole undisputed kind of feel, you know.
It was
But anyway, they all come out. They're all in all black, you know, trying to look cool. And yeah, they come to the ring. Adam Cole's got a new thing with the lights when he does boom on the apron, which kind of look cool. He's got the mask on him, pulls it out of his pocket, shows it to the crowd, and honestly, he starts talking about, like, you know, MJF is basically a piece of shit. He's talked about everyone like shit in the locker room, and he's a narcissist. He's this and that. So if me taking him out makes me the devil, boy, me first got to stick it to hell. Things along that line, and I guess, you know, he kind of has a point, like all good heels do. And Adam Cole, obviously, is always kind of good at live promos. Like, I don't think Adam Cole cuts a promo where I'm like, oh my god, this is an all timer. But he's very, you know, he's a confident, competent talker out there, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, one thing that kind of, well, you see all the tweets and the kind of reaction that he gets in like this really small bubble of wrestling Twitter, especially wrestling Twitter on the AEW side, on the side that all of us guys like interact with and stuff like our little circle, I guess. You see like all the criticisms of MJF, and it's like, oh, MJF is gone now. But like the crowd were really like for MJF here, you know.
Mm-hmm.
They were every time like Adam Cole would take a shot at him, they would boo it. They would get louder and louder. At one point, they started chanting, "He's our scumbag. He's our scumbag."
Yeah.
They still love him, man. Like they still absolutely love him. So that's a promising thing to see, because obviously they loved him in, you know, in Long Island, and I know it's still New York, but it is New Jersey.
New Jersey,
yeah. You know, so it's still kind of it's local enough, you know.
Yeah.
But
your point stands. He always gets a good reaction. Like, and
yeah,
it's important that
his
he is,
hometown.
because this group exists like to work with him when he's back. So it is important that they had that reaction for sure.
Yeah, I think it was worth noting, because, like I said, you see a lot of one narrative going around from kind of like the AEW hardcore or whatever you want to call it, you know.
Yeah.
And but you know, in the buildings, and I know you can't kind of just rely on, well, in the buildings, so all the other criticism doesn't mean anything. But I guess it was still kind of what's the word, encouraging to see that he's still, when his name gets mentioned, the crowd are still with him as much as they are, you know. So Adam Cole, he, I guess they set the mission statement, you know, Wardlow's going to go for the world title, and when the time's right and Adam Cole's fully healed, he's going to hand over the title to him.
That made me nervous.
Obviously, the Kingdom have already got the ROH tag belts. Wouldn't surprise me to see them go for the AEW tag belts. Roddy wants the international title.
Yes.
And yeah, man, obviously, you know, big plans, Joe Hulbert. Big plans. So we'll stop there, because it was quite a long segment, but we'll stop on kind of just the mission statement and the explanation. What did you think of it, Joe?
I thought it was good. It was, and I mean this mostly as a compliment, but it was like the exact segment I expected it to be, in terms of, like, you nailed it with Cole. Cole is a good promo, but he is very much like, he has his promo. And no matter what content you give him, he will deliver it in a vaguely similar way. And he's very seldom going to cut a promo that makes you go, whoa, hold on a second, what did I just watch, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he is a good promo. So I thought he did a good job with this. It's not, I did not need them to get deep in the, like, how he did it, you know, and like the things that he did along. I don't need that lore. I don't care, honestly. He's the devil. That's enough for me. He explained it. That was fine and effective. I thought it was a good segment, even if not a home run. The Wardlow thing was terrifying. And for a minute, I thought they were doing Wardlow Joe again, and was genuinely going to call the police and get someone involved in this situation. Because that
as a TV main event.
And then the thing that kind of saved me was what Cole said, hopefully you're not the champ by the time Wardlow goes. I said, hope not. Good call, Adam. I agree. Hopefully not. I don't need those matches again. So yeah, I thought it was a good segment. These are kind of, just by their nature, they're kind of cookie cutter in content anyway. We're like, why did I do it? Well, let me tell you. Like, it is what it is. But his delivery is always good. And I'm intrigued what comes of this group. I have some doubts. I'm concerned by the immediate, like, Wardlow friction tease, because it just feels like a rerun in itself. I'm not sure I would have had Roddy do the Adam thing on
Mm.
You know, the start of the new, but
Yeah,
whatever,
literally
people like
the
sharing
first thing
Could have
anyone
left
in the
that
group
last
says
year.
is,
Yeah. So again, as I talk about it, it's one of those things where the more I talk about it, the more I'm like picking things I didn't like. But I did think it was a good segment. It's just more one of those, my concerns are more beyond this one promo, I guess is what I'm saying. But for a segment, it was good.
Yeah, it's they're called the Undisputed Kingdom
Yeah.
is the name of
Which is what we were calling them anyways.
Yes, it is.
As Joe, I kind of saw you snickering to yourself when I was talking about the theme, the new theme. You a fan?
Look, man, I'm here to make friends, have fun. It's fine. I honestly didn't even pay attention if it was good or not. It just made me laugh out loud when I heard the Undisputed thing. I was like, God bless. And I'm not doing I can't believe they copied it, bro. I do not give a fuck about that. It just made me laugh because, like, the Undisputed Kingdom being the name that we all called them unofficially, being the actual name is beast.
Very real.
Yeah.
Someone saw that in a tweet and was just like, you know what?
I mean,
it works, it works.
Yeah. What did they call, Charlie? You're probably most likely of us to remember this because I do not.
Mm-hmm.
What did they call the Undisputed Era when they reformed in AEW?
Paragon.
Remember they had a
The
name?
Undisputed Elite.
Hold up. Monty actually had this because that's when they teamed up with the Elite. Monty,
it lasted like 1 week. They trademarked it, and it just never became a thing. I think someone just decided it was like Paragon or something like that.
Paragon.
Oh shit! Yeah.
In that case,
but then they just stuck with Undisputed Elite.
Yeah. In that case, you can keep the Undisputed Kingdom's fine. Good luck,
bro.
Paragon.
Do you know the theme music? I'm not even like. It's not even bad, but I'm really upset that they didn't use Something For You. Because I literally tweeted, I was like, this is all worth it if they go back to that theme song. Because the Kingdom have used it in AEW. Like, they have used that music as their tag music. And then we get this, and I was like, heartbroken. What was the point? Why are we doing this? Like,
I have a lot of nostalgia for that theme. Like, that time, it pots me a lot, yeah.
It's like, I guess, and like, people were in my mention saying, if they use that, I'm going to cheer for them. I'm just like, I don't care. I just want to hear Something For You on TV. Like,
I love the idea that like 6,000 people in New Jersey will be like, I fucking hate this Adam Cole dude. He's the devil, this piece of shit. And Something For You comes on, everyone throws their arms up. Get him! Yeah. As though that wouldn't be a thing that would just pop like 10 of us on Twitter, you know?
Yeah. It's like people that watch Ring of Honor in 2016, like, come on, man. Anyways, the segment was pretty good. The segment, I enjoyed it. The Wardlow stuff did scare me because for a second I thought he was going to say that he was going for the TNT title again, and then he made the thing of he was like, "Oh, you'll be giving the world title to me, like when I'm ready." I was like, "Oh, fuck! Stop teasing friction with Wardlow. No one wants to see him leave another group. Like, just stick with the faction. My God." But other than that, yeah, I enjoyed it. I have nothing else to add, really. I just wanted to complain about the theme song.
The Wardlow stuff was quite hilarious, He pulled a few faces on Popman.
He was pouting.
Adam Cole said he's in a group now, but respect him. And immediately said that he's going to hand the belt over to him when the time's right. So, yeah, man, whatever. Cool.
That sounds like a hot match, doesn't it? Adam Cole versus Wardlow. Get your popcorn ready.
I do hope Kyle O'Reilly comes back.
Yes.
I miss him very dearly.
Yeah, that would be really cool to see him come back,
The fact that they have called it the Undisputed Kingdom as well, makes me think that we're getting another Undisputed member. And if it's Bobby Fish, I'm not tuning in again.
Yeah, you will.
Over it. I'm so over it.
You'll get in the stance,
You don't understand how much I despise that man. It's not even anything he's done. It's just a personal vendetta.
When he gets in that orthodox stance and starts throwing kicks, it's just the real is home,
No. He can stay home. It's fine.
Bob Fish, man.
He's not for me. He's not for me.
Remember his match with Punk?
Yes. And he can tell him free.
I'll never forget, I was doing the late night grin at the time, and people were saying that he did the political 3.1 kick out, and I went on there and I said, listen, there's no way that's what happened. Bobby Fish is a great pro. He's got a great reputation. He would never do that. And I swear to you, within an hour of being off the air, I had it in my DMs. He absolutely did that. I remember that was the first of my 2 years of bad predictions, I think. So, yeah. It was a good bit, though. Right? Good bit.
It was.
Do you remember when he called him out for a shoot fight?
Yes.
Remember when he was like, was it boxing or kickboxing or MMA? He wanted to do a punk. He wanted to do one of them.
Bro, he did one of those YouTube boxing cards and he won his fight, you know.
That was a fight, wasn't it? Good Lord.
Yeah.
Look, man, I anyone who gets in there, especially at his age, like not even doing the age bit, but he's an older dude, respect, but fuck. That was not something that was, yeah.
Oh, and there was this gem as well. Folks, where's the... I think I've got that. Yep.
And I mean, folks, where's the lie?
They were in his hometown. And he got crickets.
To be fair, that's kind of just what their TV tapings are like. Beyond
fair.
Hometown, bro.
It's one of the best clips ever. It's the kind of chuckle he does before it, too.
Yes.
Folks.
It's when it goes the hard cam and it's just on Bully right at the end. Anyway, we kind of got sidetracked by Bob Fish.
Yeah, sorry.
I was... people. But yeah, Undisputed Kingdom. Mission statements. It seems like this is going to be like a very, very prominent heel group in AEW for quite some time to come. Of course, led by Adam Cole. Already some slight friction with Wardlow. But yeah, we'll see where it goes on. Hopefully they can nail it because, you know, we didn't get off to the greatest of starts. You know, this whole devil group coming together. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, man, they make their mission statement, etc. It seems like they're all very happy and pleased with themselves. But Jay White comes out and he says, "Listen, I'm quite impressed with, you know, this plan that you've pulled off, and I was quite proud of you for what you did to MJF because I thought you were starting to lose your edge, Adam. But you can't accept that he was collateral for Adam Cole's cause, which is very fair. And I appreciate kind of just that logic of him wanting to get back at Adam Cole as soon as he finds out it's him. And he says, you know, I was alone and you guys jumped me, but this time I'm not alone. And then the Gun Brothers come out and they get in the ring and start brawling. Adam Cole, of course, is still he's on walking sticks, he's on crutches, so he can't do nothing. Wardlow takes him out the ring, he gets out of there. Doc Sampson and all the doctors are standing in front of Adam Cole, no one can touch him. Wardlow gets back in the ring. And it's a numbers game. And, you know, the Undisputed Kingdom start to get the upper hand again. Until the Acclaimed music hits and they come down and the Acclaimed get in there as well. Because, of course, they were taken out by the Devil and their crew, the Undisputed Kingdom, we now know. And, yeah, man, they kind of deal with them. And then the Acclaimed and Bullet Club Gold are kind of stood awkwardly looking at each other. Of course, a lot of history there with all the guns involved in this. And, yeah, man. I wasn't mad at kind of the train of people running out after another. You know, I wasn't mad at it. But yeah, it wasn't exactly the sports style presentation that Tony Khan's been talking about a lot over the past week or so. So it kind of popped me that this is how he opened the show after all that talk. Mm-hmm. But still, I'm not saying that to say it was a bad segment or anything. It just popped me the kind of irony of it. I think it was Joseph Montesero who pointed it out on the timeline. And it was just a few people kicked the shit out of him because of course they did. But, you know, the irony of that did pop me, although I did think it was still a decent segment. So,
yeah, it was necessary too, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think you had to. I don't think you could do the devil thing and then be like, anyway, here's Dante Martin. Like, I think you had to deal with this. Yes. This was a big story. So I guess you could have closed with it and built to it, but I think they did the right thing here. Even if generally I think they should start with matches. The Jay White thing I thought was quite like, I generally like clear babyface and heel, but I do think there is always room for heels to dislike each other and to, like, when it makes sense in story to do something like this. That was a loose end. Jay had kind of moved on from caring. So I like that. I was a little bit bummed out that I thought he was setting up a Juice Robinson return, which was not the case, which bummed me out a little bit because I'd missed Juice more than I thought I would, honestly. So I like this. And I also think it may have been like kind of a roundabout way of setting up maybe they're going to go for the trios belts. Maybe, I think maybe that was kind of I'm not saying that's necessarily what I would do or what they will do. I'm just saying I think it was an interesting way to get to that kind of awkward standoff they had. So
yeah,
it was pretty fun.
of course. Charlie, where do you think they're going with these kind of elements of it with, with the people that the Undisputed Kingdom use as collateral, Bleak of Gold and the Acclaimed? Where do you think those parts of the story are going to end up going?
I'm not sure. I'm still mulling it over. I did pop for it because I love faction warfare. To be honest, it doesn't matter who's involved. I will always pop for it. It's one of my cups of tea. But yeah, I did. I was kind of like, are they going to send Hangman out here? Because if he also got attacked by the Undisputed Kingdom,
No,
you weren't in the building yet. No, but I was like, it's so odd if they sent him out to assist Bullet Club Gold of all people. So it made sense for the Acclaim to be in this spot. But I think that would have been a really interesting dynamic if they had sent Hangman out. But yeah, I enjoyed this. I do think it'd be interesting if Jay and the Guns went after the Trios belts. I did kind of think that was what was going to happen with Juice and the Guns at Full Gear. They circled back to it. It makes sense. But yeah, I'm interested to see where it goes, which is more than I had been able to say for the Devil stuff. So good on them.
Yeah, it all made sense. It was soundly logical, and I guess they achieved what they needed to in terms of getting the message across that they wanted to. And yeah, I guess I don't really have too much else to say about it, really. Just kind of wait and see where all the pieces land, I do a couple of super chats real quick. Short on Spurs $4. Whoever had the idea to have Adam Cole cut these promos in the chair should get a bonus. Helps make him look even more of a slimy bastard.
It is a pretty cool visual, I think.
Dussey Rhodes 199. We need the Hooper.
He's coming back. He's coming back.
He is slowly coming back. I've been trying. We haven't been aggressive with it, have we, Joe?
No. It's like George Foreman in 1989. You got to let him get some rounds under his belt before you throw him in with the big boys. It's. I'm noticing. I'm tracking his progress. He'll be back soon, folks.
That's what I did see him on the timeline earlier. I was just like, oh, I haven't seen Manny in a while.
Charlie's putting the work in. I've seen it with my own eyes. He's putting the work in. That's all you can do.
Back in the gym. Back at the Nightmare Factory.
Yep.
Darren Walker, £2. Appreciate it. Bobby Fish or Trent Seven? Who do you prefer, Charlie?
On a serious note, because I did see this super chat, one person in that list was named in Speaking Out, and it wasn't Bobby Fish. So there's your answer.
Bobby Fish anyway as well.
Yeah. I have my bits about Bobby Fish and my personal reasons for disliking him, but Trent Seven's a piece of shit. So we have very real reasons to dislike that man. So
yeah,
it's
unfortunate how a lot of this gets said in wrestling, But We got plenty of reasons to like Bob Fish, so
Yeah, educated feet.
Yeah, man. All right, back to the AEW Dynamite review. Undisputed Kingdom in-ring promo. I just spoke about that. Eddie Kingston, fresh off winning the Continental Classic, and he's kind of discussed his journey throughout the tournament. He's more like obviously it was like a pre-tape kind of thing, and there's like highlights stuff of him talking about winning and how he's he's got confidence now. That's the one thing that he's gained from his Continental Classic that he never had before. And who's going to stop a confident Eddie Kingston, Joe Hall? But who can stop this man?
No one. I mean, it all comes down to game plan, money. You can't if you stand in the pocket with Ed King, you're going out. Yep. Lights out. I remember when we were on ESPN last week, Monty, and they were talking about Moxley's chin. Chin don't matter when you're dealing with Ed King, cracks those chins. So Eddie Kingston, I'm getting ahead of myself here. This promo obviously we saw on social and it was fun, but him walking out with these belts is one of the weirdest moments for my fandom. It was actually and I know this sounds dumb because he's already had the two belts, but God, it felt weird. It was actually kind of surreal. It was that was a wild visual. So happy for King, obviously. Loved the video package and the way that it kind of told the story of the tournament. The tournament was basically a vehicle for Eddie Kingston, which, my God, what a life we live here in 2024. So thrilled for Ed. Nice promo.
sunken in yet for you, Charlie, that Eddie Kingston is the American Triple Crown champion?
That is wild, isn't it? I'm so happy for it.
It
I
is.
fucking love Eddie Kingston, man. This video
Yeah.
package was really fucking
Yeah.
cool as well. They did a really great job on it. They did a really great job on a lot of the video packages they played on this Dynamite, to be honest. But yeah, no, Eddie Kingston, man, what a real wrestler. I'm so fucking excited for him to walk around defending this Triple Crown. I hope he defends it in New Japan as well. Like, just go everywhere with it. Do everything you can with it. Like, go balls to the wall because he deserves it. He's proven that he is like one of the main characters of AEW, and they should treat him like that. So, shout out, Matt
Big
King.
fan. Big fan.
Huge fan.
Big fan. Big fan of Daniel Garcia as well in this pre-tape promo that he cut on Swerve Strickland, of course, who he's main eventing with later on in the show. Talking about how, Big Swerve talks about big pressure and this and that, but what happens when someone doesn't fold under pressure and they keep on coming and coming, and a pretty standard promo really in terms of content, but good promo. Daniel Garcia, very good at pre-tapes, getting better at just talking in live interviews and stuff as well. He did like an interview with Renee, which is on social media at the moment, which is really good. Everyone should check out. But yeah, Garcia is he just keeps kind of like getting better, even over like the past year or so when he hasn't been used like that greatly up until like the Continental Classic. He's still better now than he was this time last year as like a talent and skill set wise, because he's just a really great talent. Charlie, I know we're all big fans of Garcia, but he's, even as a character, like I said, this was obviously a pre-tape promo, but he's making steps in the right direction, isn't he?
He sure is. I'm really happy for him that he's still being like a main focus post Continental Classic. I was a little bit worried that they were just going to slip up again and he was just going to fade into doing stupid fucking... Nothing against 2.0, but I didn't need any more of those 6-man tags. I realised the way I was phrasing it that it was coming out very, very spiteful, but
No, you're right.
yeah, no,
it's true.
But he deserves to be in the position he's in, man. Like, you can tell just how hard he's worked to get here, and he's improved massively, like, throughout his time in AEW, and like even during the Continental Classic, week on week, you could see it. Like, he's great. I'm very happy for him.
He is great. But yeah, the 2.0 stuff, obviously, you want to see kind of move on to bigger things,
Yeah.
I will say that he's kind of like this dynamic recently with Matt Menard, where he's
It's
kind of
good,
like he's like the coach.
Yeah, I have
he's like the cornerman. He does pop me quite a lot.
And this is one of those things that's kind of hard because I don't know what he wants to do as a talent, but I would actually have him not wrestle while he's playing that role.
Yeah.
Because I think the audience likes him, but the only way for him to be a wrestler is to be an absolute goof, which there's space for, but not while you can't do both to me, right? Like at the same time.
Yeah.
I think the story to tell with those guys is Menard basically realizing that, his day has come and gone as a contender. He could have been a contender, right? Well, he could have been a somebody. Him giving that promo to Daniel Garcia and being like, it goes really quick. I'm nearly 40 now, and I made it to the dance too late. I think could be very powerful. And I think their chemistry and their dynamic is actually like really cool. And I would go fully into that and tell that story and kind of explain why, beyond the fact that they're friends and he kind of sees him as his mentor, why it means so much to Matt Menard to get a Daniel Garcia to the promised land, to do what he couldn't do, to kind of live through him. I think that's a great story, and I think he could actually pull it off. But if you're going to do that, you have to, he can't be getting cursed by Danhausen on Rampage or whatever. So there's a story to tell there. But nice promo from Danny. I mean, he's still finding himself as a promo, but he's got way better, as you both mentioned. And they're telling they're giving him a direction now and an arc and something to build towards. It's very, very encouraging as a big fan. So I'm excited because a few months ago it was looking a little bit spooky on the Garcia front. So I'm happy.
Good stuff, encouraging stuff. Next up, Orange Cassidy successfully defends the international title versus Dante Martin. A very perfectly good match. And yeah, man, Dante Martin looking good. Of course, he hasn't been back too long. Yeah, man. Like seeing Dante Martin get these chances in single spots. And Orange Cassidy, of course, as always, he always has good performances. He's a very sound and good wrestler, but it's hard to really lock in on these international title defenses now. You know, good match though, wasn't it, Joe?
Yeah, it was decent. I just couldn't quite get into this. Like, I thought it was, and I think part of it is, unless it's someone that's really aggressive, I'm not a huge fan of like Orange working a babyface match. Yeah, I think Orange is best against, with a clear heel opposite him. A babyface match, like when he did with Brian Keith, it was different because Brian Keith, his style is just naturally aggressive, right? But it's still a nice match. I think Dante's looked really good since he came back, which is wild considering, the injury sustained. But yeah, it was decent. I think we kind of touched on it earlier, right? We're already to move on from this chapter of Orange's time. Like, I think it's, he's got other things to do, and I'd like to see him get involved in some big time feuds that even aren't about belts, that are just personal conflicts. So yeah, I'm ready to move on, but it was a nice match.
Yeah, Dante looked promising, didn't he, Charlie? And obviously Orange Cassidy's Orange Cassidy.
Yeah, it was a good TV title defense, but you can say that about literally almost every Orange Cassidy match last year, which is crazy. He had that belt for most of 2023. Like, there was like 36 days that he didn't have it, which is nuts. So I'm very ready for a new champion. Nothing against him. I love Orange Cassidy. I want him to be doing something cool in AEW, but the international belt is not it anymore, I'm afraid. Not that I don't think the international belt isn't cool. He just doesn't need it. He's very much moved past it at this point. But yeah, Dante looked great in this. I kept waiting for him to make a tag, which I think is why I couldn't really get into it like as much as I wanted to. And that's nothing against Dante as a singles wrestler. I think he can do well at that. But I'm so used to seeing him in these 6-mans again already, like in the tag matches already, that I was like, when's he going to tag out? Like, and it's nothing against him, genuinely. It's just my perception of wrestling sometimes.
Yeah, it's fair. It's fair, 100%. And yeah, man. After the match, very fired up about this.
Oh, speaking of tag team,
Private Party are back. Mark Quinn as well. He's back. He missed the entirety of 2023, if I'm not mistaken. So it's really cool to see him back now, back on TV as well. Private Party back, reunited, full entrance, everything, bouncer included. They don't call them bouncers in the US, do they? What do they call them?
I don't know.
Security guard.
I was gonna say something.
Club security.
I don't know. Yeah.
The red velvet rope. Shots. Everything. But yeah, they made a mission statement as well. They're back, and tag division looking like gained a very, very, very nice asset back here, didn't he? The tag division, Charlie. I can see you smirking already.
So ready for it. This was, bro, Private Party, man. They beat the Bucks, and then it was never capitalized on. And it is something that I really resent from early AEW, because they're a good tag team. Like, they were back then, and I'm very excited to see what they can do in the ring now, especially because of, obviously, we haven't seen Mark Quinn wrestle in like fucking year and a half or something dumb. But Isaiah Cassidy, man, he got real good under the Hardys. So I'm very, very excited for them. And they got such a nice reception as well. Like, they got the welcome back chant, which was really lovely. And they name dropped the Bucks. I would love to see that rematch. I want to see him against the Lucha Bros again. I think they had a match before. Someone will correct me if I'm wrong. I want to see him against Ozzy O, but I just want to see him wrestle and get a substantial push, because I really do think they could be tag champions this year and have a really great run. I'm a big fan of Private Party. I really am.
I really like them as well, and I always found it very unfortunate, like the string of Mark Quinn injuries and just kind of their momentum in general, just dramatically kind of like slowing down. And I get a few pops of seeing Cassidy still on TV with like Matt Hardy and whatnot, and it was cool to see him still being utilised and not just kind of sitting at home, because he's a talented guy, they both are. But like I was just saying, it was a shame to kind of see how like you know, how irrelevant they became to the AEW's product. So hopefully now, boom, they're back in and they can be winning, you know, big profile matches like Charlie mentioned. They beat the Bucks once upon a time. So, you know, big fan of. You a fan of Private Party, Joe?
I am, yeah. I always felt like they had like a lot of potential, but as you mentioned, string of injuries. They've been there for much longer, but they're kind of similar to Top Flight in that sense, right? Where it's like,
Yeah.
God, if they didn't have bad luck, wouldn't have any luck at all. It would be awesome if 2024 was the year where those two teams were central to the tag division. After kind of years like waiting for that. So yeah, I'm very hopeful. Quinn, everyone needs to give him some time because of how long he missed.
Yes.
But he definitely will have some catching up to do in general because Isaiah Cassidy was kind of starting to come clearly the stronger worker of the team before. So hopefully they it's a difficult balance because I want them to be pushed, but I also think they need to give Quinn some time, give him some time where it's not immediately on a 15-minute match on Dynamite, build up to a little bit. Because there's no rush here, right? Like if they're back, let's get moving, but let's also give him time to get in rhythm. So positive on this, like this team, popped me huge when they said the Young Bucks, FTR, or even the Hardys. I know why, because Zay's been with the Hardys, but God, the reaction to the Hardys was funny.
So
funny. It's like the Young Bucks, FTR, and even the Hardys. Like, oh shit, they're going for the Hardys again. I get it, but it was funny. I would did a hell of a job here. Great reaction, as you both mentioned. Super happy for them.
I'm glad they brought him back on Dynamite, but honestly, they could really benefit from doing a few Ring of Honor matches as well. Because if they've got some pretty cool teams on Ring of Honor at the moment, and you can bring external teams for them to experiment with, and I think that's a good way to get Mark Quinn some reps before they really push him on TV again.
I would probably what I think I would do is on Dynamite give them profile pieces about the Quinn's road to recovery, their story in AEW thus far. 4 years ago we beat the Young Bucks and we've been waiting to kind of capitalize and so on and so forth on our potential. Give them maybe some 5 to 6 minute squash enhancement matches on Dynamite, and then on a Rampage or a Ring of Honor you let them have longer matches until you're confident. Quinn looks like he's sharp, they're on point. I think there's ways to give them in-ring reps the way we're discussing while keeping them featured on the TV show, right? That's key. They can't vanish after this segment. They can't just disappear immediately. So you need to kind of strike that balance here. But I'm super thrilled for Quinn to be back and just for them to be back together because clearly we all think they're very capable, right? So hopefully it works out this time.
Yeah, hopefully. We've definitely got our fingers crossed anyway because, as we've all said, we are a fan.
The tag division, it might be back.
Hopefully.
God bless. It was brutal, but we made it.
A tough year.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, next up, AEW Dynamite. Tony Storm backstage interview with Renee. And Tony Storm, hilariously, she thinks that they're in New York, but she found out that they're in New Jersey. And she's not happy. She's asked if she's going to be watching Mariah May's upcoming match, and she hilariously as well just kind of, can't watch wrestling,
Real.
But yeah, Tony Storm on the show, they've got to get her in, Of course, especially ahead of Mariah May's debut, which was later in the show. And Tony Storm being Tony Storm, I guess. House Black did a tape promo, getting very personal with FTR, how they're going to embarrass them in North Carolina, somewhere very special to them, in front of the family, in front of the children. If Cash has found anyone that'll love him, in front of them too. But yeah, Joe, they're trying to cut deep on Dax on Cash, man. That's
the finish for this match is a lock to be fucking hilarious. They're going to do something. This is going to be quite the deal because I think they're going to have Malachi getting spooky with Dax's family, and I don't know. I think I actually liked the choice. At first, I didn't get why it wasn't on the pay-per-view because I think we can all agree that show was a little light on good mid-card wrestling. But then I saw it was in North Carolina. I was like, actually, that may be a better call. Gives this more space as its own thing on there. I'm not sure how it will go. I didn't love the CMFTR House of Black Trios match. but I think there's a chance this is really damn good. Malachi at this point, I don't even know what you're getting with him because he's just seems so inconsistent to me.
Yeah.
But Bud Matt is pretty reliable in terms of bumping hard and kind of bringing it in physicality. So yeah, I think this should be good, and I think the finish will be hilarious. So something to look forward to about on Worldwide.
Yes. Can't wait for
Absolutely,
a
brother.
26-minute TV main event.
It's definitely gonna be long. Yeah, it's definitely gonna be.
Yeah,
It's
bro.
going
You gotta let if Dax is gonna wrestle, put his body on the line. Don't make it worth it.
In North Carolina, I think it will be, and the heat will be good for this. So we'll see.
Yeah, I am cautiously excited for this match because, listen, man, I still believe Malachi can be something. Like, I've never given up on it, really.
Very talented.
He's still over.
Yeah, still over.
He's
Very
still
talented.
over. He was so good for so long, and then something happened. I don't really know anymore, but I'm hoping they seem to have a chip on their shoulder about this match. Like, just with the way they're doing the promos and that sort of thing, the fact that it's booked in North Carolina, I think people are going to be surprised by it. Someone in chat just told me to please give up. God bless.
Well, if it helps, I'm still like the Buddy Matthews guy, so
he's very good.
Are you aware that Buddy is? He has said that Dax was the guy who really clued him in on tag team psychology in NXT. And so here they are in 2024, which legitimately is like a decade after this, wrestling a tag team main event. So I think these guys are gonna. I think Charlie was right to say that there's a chip on their shoulder. I think they're gonna try and kill it. That may result in a worse match. I'm hoping. It may. Yeah.
And they kind of need to just be a little sloppy about it. I'm not.
Yeah. I'm optimistic.
Yeah.
I'm optimistic. We'll see how it plays out. The spirit of collision. Maybe it'll
collide as unite.
Absolutely. All right, next up, Swerve Strickland backstage interview, kind of like a mission statement, just reiterating that he's coming for the title. Of course, he was still talking. He also mentions his upcoming match with Daniel Garcia in the main event. But yeah, he's coming for the belt, man. He's coming for the belt. We all know this lot. But yeah, it's good stuff. Of course, he delivered it great because he's a good talker. Mariah May defeats Queen Aminata in her AEW in-ring debut. And it wasn't too long, but did what they needed to do out there. Absolutely, Mariah May. They kind of whacked each other a bit. I was really impressed by Queen Aminata's comeback. Before Mariah May, she hits a sling blade and then she gets the win. But yeah, I thought there was, encouraging signs. It was a nice debut for her, and if you wanted it, you have to say it's a success. I got my words on me. You have to say it was a success.
Yeah,
was what I was trying to say. Excuse me. But yeah, Mariah May, she looked pretty decent. I was actually probably more impressed with Queen Aminata, to be honest. Which probably wasn't wasn't the intention. I'm not saying this to have a shot or dig up Mariah May or anything like that. It's just me being honest and we're doing a review, But yeah, Mariah May also looked good, and I thought they achieved in making her look good in her debut. It's just that Queen Aminata also very much caught my eye in a big way. Like, I've seen her wrestle before, of course, but I thought she definitely made the most of her opportunity here on national TV. Charlie, was you impressed at all by either woman?
I was impressed by both of them. I think Queen Aminata, get her signed, bro. If she ain't signed, she is someone that they would very much benefit from having in the division more, because she's a different character. She can work that more hard hitting style, which, let's be real, the division has been lacking, and it benefited greatly for Mariah because of they've both wrestled in Japan. Mariah more so than Queen Aminata, but they were throwing bombs in this match. They were hitting each other. It was great to watch, honestly. I was very impressed. They did a lot with the time that they had, I think, and they made an impression. So that is genuinely all you could hope for when you put two women in a position like this, that aren't as familiar to the AEW crowd.
Yeah, man. Encouraging signs, Joe Hulbert.
Yeah, this was a really good start from Mariah. I mean, I agree with you both on she should be signed. I think we kind of felt that way beforehand, but she looked really good here. Mariah May had like her opening before they went to the break. I think they went to the break. I'm pretty sure I may be misremembering. I apologize, folks. But she had that sequence where she had like the front drop kick and it had like a real snap. And you could see her, like visually, you could see her kind of like exhale, like, I'm going to be okay. It's still a wrestling ring, right? Like there's nerves that come with that stage. But I wish she really did a great job of just like, that's a tough deal. Like it's one thing to debut on national TV, but it's another thing to do it as a like character and someone that's been given some lead up. So I wish she did a hell of a job. And credit to the agent on this. I thought I thought this was the right length. I think I definitely like think Aminata kind of shine more than maybe they even cared to intended her to. That was the benefit of the match, right? They gave it enough time to be a real match, and then it actually became quite good. So this was this was really positive, and with what followed it, which we'll get to in a second, I thought it was like, you don't carry away with all this division stuff because it's been 4 years at this point, so this is what it is. But this was definitely a moment to go like, that felt good, right? That was encouraging. We used that word a lot tonight, so very snappy, sharp match here. I thought I liked it.
Yeah, it was a good placement on the show as well.
Yes,
like they put it in the right place. I feel.
Yeah, there was a lot to like, especially if she was going into it hopeful that Mariah May would look good in the debut, because she did. But yeah, after the match, Mariah May, she tells the crowd that she hopes Toni Storm was watching wherever she is, and then she kind of done the shitting on the hometown, shitting on New Jersey, which prompted Deonna Purrazzo to come. It wasn't quite her AEW debut. She's been on AEW before, but obviously this is a bigger deal because she's all elite now. Deonna Purrazzo is all elite. She comes out, she gets a really good reaction. But yeah, she comes out. She comes out there. Issues, I guess, some sort of warning to Toni Storm. Mariah May tries to attack her. Purrazzo kicks with a big boot, gets her out of there, and successful debut. I thought it was it hit as much as it needed to, in the sense of like it came out, she got a pop. I thought it was well placed to get a pop as well, of course, with it being in New Jersey, and look, they made a deal of it, but obviously it's not like Mercedes coming in, for example, and she's there's already kind of, I use this word a lot, but it is the first Dynamite of the year mission statement in terms of mentioning Toni. So also, I think Deonna Purrazzo could be quite a successful signing. Charlie, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. This was like a pretty successful debut for her. I think she did a really good job with it as well. Like she was pretty concise in like why she was here. She made it very clear that she's going straight for the top title, which is always nice. I'm not too familiar with her work. I've had opinions told to me of what she's like, but I'm going to reserve judgment. But I do hope that they don't just throw her into a prominent position and then she's just cycled into the mid card. I hope that they do have a plan and that she's gonna like be a big impact for the. I didn't mean that as a pun, but a big impact for the division, because she has just come from Impact and she was a big deal there. So
she was. Yeah, Joe Hulbert, she's made the jump.
Finally did it, bro. I got a prediction right. Note on the calendar, folks. I called it on one of the 100 shows I did in the last couple months. I was bullish on this. Montgomery and Ibu of WrestlePurists pushback. Never doubt old Joe Burt. He knows what he's talking about when it comes to predictions. So I'm actually a fan. I like Deonna's work quite a bit. I think she's going to need to make like adjustments in terms of, for these crowds, figuring out like her sharper, the stuff that she has that can wow the people a little more. Psychologically, though, I have always thought her work was on point, and like she's a very smart wrestler. So I like Deonna quite a bit.
She's good.
Yeah, I was super, super happy for her here because you could tell she was like both nervous, but also I thought she was like blown away by the response. She seemed super emotional, right? Like I think TNA, she had a great run in TNA. She's a good example of the actual positive role that promotion serves in terms of like being a place where people can rehab themselves and find themselves. She's been there. She was there for like 3.5 years. But we have to be honest, it's not a huge place in terms of exposure. So to get that reaction, I'd imagine, was really fulfilling and kind of validating. The promotion helped, right? This is what we're talking about. Creative should assist the talent. What a perfect spot for her. Hometown, heel talking shit about the hometown. Wrestling isn't rocket science. Very familiar formula, but it worked. So, yeah, all things considered, I thought this was like a super success, and the big boot looked pretty cool too. So, big thumbs up. Happy for Deanna. Yeah, they're good.
Very happy for her. She, like you said as well, she seems very, very blown away and happy to be in AEW. So, happy days. I guess it's right time to touch on this super chat. So, digital $2. Does AEW have the best women's division in the US? He then goes on to name Deanna, Mariah, Tony, Stat, Rosa, Dee, Riho, Willow, Athena, Billy. I'd have to say no, pretty confidently as well, to be honest. Because if we go like if we're just talking like kind of talent roster, if you go premier talent for premier talent, you've got like, I wouldn't class like, because we was just praising it. I think Deanna's really good, but I wouldn't class her as like a premier talent of the division. Do you know what I mean? Same with Mariah May, same with Billy Starks. Athena, he's been on Ring of Honor. As much as I love her, she's arguably the best woman in the US at the moment. But it's not AEW's women's division. She hasn't competed on it in how long? So, you know, then like on the WWE side, you got Becky, Bianca, Charlotte, Rhea, Io, Kyrie's just came in. You know, then there's other people as well, but I guess you could slide in Bailey, Asuka. You know, you can keep going with in terms of talent roster. But to be fair, a lot of people would make the excuse for AEW's women's division saying that they haven't got like the talent. I always thought that was bullshit, and obviously even more so now with Deanna's in, Mariah's in. These are people that you can build around. I know I said Billy's not a premier talent, but she should be on the trajectory that she's on. Same with Mariah. And Deanna, there's absolutely a chance that could come to fruition as well. Obviously, Thunder Rosa, like you mentioned, she's obviously a big star that went away, came back in a feud that wasn't quite main event or coming back for the title. She never lost, but hopefully she can get to like that point again, you know. But yeah, I think they've definitely got the pieces. It's just how they put them in play. And if you have someone like Mercedes coming to spearhead it, it just gives you more of an opportunity to put these pieces in play more productively. Yeah. So
that's a good squad, man. Like when I first read the super chat, I was kind of like, I don't know. And I'm not saying that it's true. I honestly have a strong opinion as well. But yeah, like that is this is look. I'm kind of hesitant because it's like such a familiar topic, but especially with who we think may be coming in, this year is like, it's now or never, right? Let's be real.
Yeah.
Like if it isn't going to happen now, I don't think it's going to happen because that squad plus with the name that's kind of looming. I love the one I'm not saying her now. Like she's I'm like scared to say her name. Yeah. So it's all on creative, I think, at this point, right? I think
that's always been the main thing, really, because they've got because it's like they've got the pieces in play. It's like in terms of talent, like I would say, like Willow is probably in that like premier bracket, but it's not like that's been conveyed to us as an audience by AEW. Do you know what I mean? Like that isn't how they've been dealing with it, except for when she won the Owen. So it's like, they've got the pieces. I don't think they've quite got the. They haven't quite got the gold that WWE have, but obviously, there's been a lot of investment from WWE in that sense. Yeah. But, Charlotte's just made like what, if you're making guesses, anything between like fucking $4 to $6 million a year or whatever it is, and obviously the time they put into it.
Like Billy Starks is a perfect example of build it. Like you have to commit, right? Look what they just did with Billy and Ring of Honor. We've never had. Unless I'm mistaken, we've never had a story like that on AEW TV with the women. And it's like, it's not got a big audience watching. I understand that. But I do think if you just watch the content itself, you can see with a clear creative direction, you can do an awful lot with talent, even if they're not necessarily ready. So, yeah, this is the year. If it's gonna happen, it feels like it's gonna happen pretty damn soon here.
Yeah.
Do agree.
Yeah. There's always going to be people that you can use. Like even WWE, as much as like as much as you can say that like they've been more productive with how they've put the women in recent years, it's like they've still got women that they could use, but it's like Mia Yim,
Oh,
bro.
for sure,
Like
yeah.
Mia Yim is she's class, mate. You know.
Yes, she's really good.
And
Her Impact run was so fun. Like I
Yeah.
watched a lot of her matches because it was like 6 months, but she killed it there, honestly.
Naomi's coming back, reportedly.
Mm,
You know.
yeah,
For real. To
so,
WWE, she's going back, right? Is what you're saying?
Yeah.
yeah, that's what's been
Reportedly.
reported.
That's what Impact and WWE sources told Fightful Select a day or two ago. Yeah, Trinity, Naomi, Trinity Fatu, whatever you want to call her. Getting ready to feel the glow again, John. Getting ready.
I'm in. Like,
yeah, 100%. Julia's probably going to be coming in, especially judging off this morning. So yeah, man.
Julia versus Trinity could be quite the match.
So yeah, both companies have stacked rosters. Like I said, WWE probably more so, but AEW definitely have the pieces to be able to like make a really, really great women's division. I think so. Hopefully they do it. Because as Joe said, if it's not now, probably never. And I'm not saying fold the division, but you know,
It'll just be what it is.
Yeah, because my optimism for the women's division has not been very strong in quite a while, to be honest. But obviously, this Mercedes thing looming is
game changer.
It's a complete game changer.
It changes the entire conversation, and every talent is now like reappraised as a potential Mercedes opponent. Right, like, let's be honest. That's what we've all looked at that roster at some point over the last week and been like, okay, who are the ones they need to really get ready for? Because that's the key now. It's like there are talents that have not been used well enough that now you have a clear reason you need to elevate them because they're a money match potentially if done correctly with Mercedes. It's like adding an MVP candidate to your squad. You know, like it's big. Again, it hasn't happened yet. That's why I've like said her name twice while talking about it for the last 20 minutes. But it should change everything. If it doesn't, we're gonna have a lot to talk about in the coming weeks and months.
Yeah, hopefully though, because I like, when it comes to women's wrestling, like I do understand that like US women's wrestling is not at the level of like Joshi, like the Stardom pay-per-view main events are kind of on like a planet of their own when it comes to like match quality and stuff like that, and also just kind of like the depth to kind of like the characters and stuff like that.
Right.
But I don't know when US women's wrestling not really hits, like whether that was like Bianca versus Sasha or the Man with Becky Lynch or even like Charlotte versus Rhea at Mania. Like it is genuinely like one of my favorite things in all of wrestling. But hopefully AEW can produce some stuff like that.
God, I can't wait for Jamie Hayter to come back.
Yeah, that's a huge
one.
She
has been missed.
Huge one.
The idea of, again, I'll say the name, folks. There, I'll do it. The idea of Mercedes Moné wrestling Jamie Hayter at Wembley Stadium is big business.
Very big business.
That's big business. Like the atmosphere for that and the way that Mercedes would have fun with the atmosphere and play into the atmosphere. I think you're talking about something special there. Like
that was like one of the first graphics that people threw around when All In was announced last year, like back in like April of last year when it was first announced. That was like one of the first matches. Like people went to that. People went to like Punk vs Kenny and FTR Bucks. Those were the 3 matches that people were like, okay, this is All In. Like this is what we want. So if we finally get that match, man, it would be something special.
There's a lot to look forward to, potentially. Maybe.
Yeah. Allegedly.
Yeah, assumably.
Possibly.
I can't remember who it was, but someone's posted a cryptic tweet of a picture of a fucking Mercedes-Benz and a pile of money. It was like it was like John Alba or someone like that. If it wasn't him, I'm sorry. Yeah, no, it was him. I remember now. Yeah, Andrew Zarin. I knew it was one of the ones that I'm not very familiar with. I don't know why. Alba was the one that came to mind, but Yeah, no, it was Andrew Zarin. So
Shout out John Alba.
No, yeah, shout out.
Late night grim legend John Alba. Shout out to him.
Oh, but yeah, man. All in all, I hope that this is a positive sign for the women's division. That is the main takeaway from this.
Absolutely. All right, moving on. Christian Cage in ring promo. This popped me quite a lot because Christian Cage gets away with doing. I think you mentioned this. I don't know if it was on one of these podcasts or somewhere else I've seen you on, but like Christian Cage gets away with like doing. Like he gets away with doing like these live segments that like conceptually like are absolutely awful. You know, like Shayna Wayne live mic time in the ring and shit. Like, do you know what I mean? And
He's
but he pulls it off, Joe.
Every time, bro. This one was again like it's total heel bullshit and shit, but it is so good. What was the line? He said it a couple of times, but his delivery this time of the Nick Wayne thing was fucking hilarious.
His pride and joy.
Yeah. Nick Wayne standing there like this like shitting grin, like yeah, you know, like it was this was awesome. It's again, it's you know, to be fair, Ibu was the one who said it first on Worldwide. He was like, he does stuff that's like kind of like in any other hands would be awful probably, but like it's awesome because of course. And the thing too is you always know where he's going. Like you could see from a mile away what he was going to do with the Luchasaurus thing, right? You knew he was going to do that. And the thing that popped me was the kill switch thing. That's going to take a while, but he turns to kill switch and he's like, he starts doing it, and kill switch like revs himself up because he's going to get praised by Papa Christian. And incredibly, and this is one of those things where it's almost too good for its own good, is they're chanting Luchasaurus.
Yeah.
And he's going to do this so well that he's going to convince them they want to see this Luchasaurus thing as a singles babyface run. And all I could think while I was watching it, this guy, he's so, and as soon as you know what's going to happen, they're going to have a match. It's going to be really heated. It'll probably be good. And as soon as it ends, we're going to be sitting on these shows going, why the fuck is Luchasaurus singles babyface? But it's going to be because he's that good at what he does. So Christian Cage is a wizard. He don't get any better. Absolute class.
Something special.
He just did not. He didn't even acknowledge like Copeland defeated him for the title, you know, and how it all played out. You know, Luchasaurus kill switch. Sorry, you know, he cashed in his contract by handing it to Christian Cage, and you know, obviously that was the point by him not thanking him. You know, but it's just, you know, he says he's done with Adam Copeland. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that's going to be the case. You know.
You got to do a cage match, bro.
I don't know. I don't know how. I don't know why. Well, I do know why because of obviously history between parties involved. But just I feel like Jack Perry is going to make.
He's losing. I really do feel like he's losing. He should be.
That's awesome. Like Christian doing a promo, like accepting him back in the family is fucking incredible, man. Like, and it lets him it lets Jack like get back involved without being put in a role where he's like kind of positioned to foul, you know, and then you can do what you want to do with him after that. I've liked that for a while, that idea. It feels like the next Cope match should probably be the blow off though, so you might want, I don't know when you do it, but yeah. I mean, Christian and Jack could have some pretty sweet tag matches also, to be fair. There's some different things you could do with that, but nonetheless, I agree it's a good idea.
You'll get Jack Perry teaming with Nick Wayne.
That's what I think they will do. But like, even if not Christian shouldn't be in like a full-time team at this point unless he's doing the run with Copeland, but like some big matches as a team, I think could be pretty cool. Yeah. So, yeah.
Do agree. Could be pretty funny if they just put them back together. I wouldn't hate it. I genuinely would not hate it at this point. Because like, if you just bring Jack Perry back, like just as himself, what's he gonna do? Like in the current state of the division, like singles, like even if you try and put him in a tag team, like I don't really
it's tough. It's the thing with Jack is I like Jack Perry as a talent, and I thought he was really like a pretty damn good babyface.
Mhm.
But the heel turn was, it wasn't the in ring so much as like he just didn't seem to know what he wanted to be as a personality as a heel,
No.
right? Like he was like 4 different things at once. It wasn't natural. So the question really is, do you just revert him back to what he was basically as a babyface, or do you try a new thing as a heel? I don't know. What I would avoid is I wouldn't put him in like a big role immediately, because I just think that, to me, that's like, setting him up to fail.
Setting him up for failure.
Yeah, give him something that he can just slot into, and then in 6 months get to something more. If you want to push him again, do that then,
Yeah.
Yeah. Outcast backstage interview. Harley Cameron obviously helped Ruby win last week. Soraya's saying that, Harley Cameron, you should trust her. She can be one of us in the Outcast. She'll do anything for us. Blah, blah, blah. Harley Cameron's going along with it. Maybe a bit too much. Soraya says that when Ruby finally walks away, Soraya says that Harley may be blowing their cover. I'm not sure what's going on here. It's a little bit, I don't know. Anyway, Takeshita versus Darby Allin.
Saying on TV you may be blowing our cover is crazy, bro. This wasn't even like an invisible camera thing where it was backstage. Like, this was an interview segment. Like, she knew they were on camera, but God bless.
God bless. Takeshita defeats Darby Allin.
My God.
I'd say this was a great pairing, but it's also just kind of like Darby Allin being Darby Allin, and Takeshita is, of course, like when Takeshita is allowed to kind of spread his legs with his offense, and really kind of, whether that's like whacking people, doing his knees, or just kind of doing, I don't know, tombstones and fucking suplexes off the top rope, and he's got a really great bag when it comes to stuff like that. So yeah, Darby got the shit fucking kicked out of him, like really bad. Darby had a couple hope spots. He did the coffin drop to the outside, which was cool. He did a really cool dive, as he always does. He did a great tope where he ended up at a really, really weird angle by the time he hit Takeshita and kind of floated on top of him. But this was great. This was a really, really great match. I love this. And it was great to see kind of Takeshita making a big statement on the first Dynamite of the year, because he is someone that, I think it's very fair to say that they haven't, capitalised on, the wins against Omega and kind of what he did in the summer. So hopefully this statement is a real statement and a statement of intention of what they're going to do with Takeshita in 2024. Darby Allin, of course. Love Darby Allin. Darby's Darby, man. He has been beat a lot over like the past 12 months, 18 months. He feels like he's been beat quite a lot. But he's fucking off to go climb a mountain, so kind of is what it is, It's not what you're keeping him strong for. But great match though, Charlie.
It sure was. I fucking love this. I was very fired up after this match. I made a tweet. I was just like, okay, so you need to put Takeshita against everyone that can sell like this. And I listed off fucking 4 names. I can't remember who off the top of my head, but the fucking rolling chaos theory on the ramp was nuts. And they really set the tone of the match with that. And bro, it's just the perfect pairing, isn't it? Because Darby doesn't care. He'll just let you ragdoll him. And Takeshita is big enough and strong enough to be able to do that sort of thing. And it very much did set the tone of what I hope is a very dominant year for Takeshita. Because, bro, he has not been, this heel run has been unfortunate at best. So I really hope that he gets back on track and has an important year in 2024, because this match, man, it was very much a reminder of who he is as a wrestler, I think.
Yeah, man. Really good stuff, Joe. Really good stuff.
It was. Charlie, I thought you were going to bring up something that seemed to make me laugh.
I couldn't do it.
Because I don't know if you realise what you said, Monty, but you mixed phrases and created one of the more insane things ever said on this platform. So you was torn between saying Takeshita could spread his wings or stretch his legs, and you in fact said you like when Takeshita spreads his legs, which was was unhinged, and Charlie nearly fell out of her chair laughing so much. And
I thought I said stretch his legs.
That's what you were going for, but you know, it is what it is. And it was, you know. I've been there. You're at a crossroads. You have a door to go through. You go in the middle. It's different. I had to bring that up, folks. I'm sorry, but it was that was incredible.
Charlie
That was a moment.
she couldn't do it.
It was wild.
I thought I did very well to keep my composure.
You did, but I saw. I think you know that I saw it too. I mean, I think you could tell, but nonetheless, awesome match, right? Awesome match.
I mean, like, someone could have threw a pause in, or you know.
Look. I'm just saying.
I'm looking in the live chat. There's got to be a pause somewhere.
There was, and I didn't want to cut you off because you were talking about a great match, and I wanted to let you keep going. And but awesome match.
Took a lot not to.
Yes, you was struggling. Awesome match. The Darby is he's like a demon that you use when someone needs like rehabbing or kind of refreshing or waking up in some way, or like. Takeshita's had a quiet few months, and they threw up a Darby Allin graphic, and it was like, oh, he's going to beat the hell out of Darby Allin, you know? Like, it's the easiest formula. There are some great matches that can be dissected and broken down 10 times over. This isn't one of those. This is very simple. Darby Allin gets violently assaulted many, many times within about a 10-minute run time. Takeshita gets a chance to spread his wings and or stretch his legs on offense, and we all have a great time along the way. They actually also got, I mean, I knew Takeshita was going to win. I got to be honest. You know, when Darby was getting some of those roll-ups late, I was kind of hoping, what if they heat Darby up for a world title match with Joe? You know, I was talking myself into it. You know, when Callis did the thing where he like signaled something to Takeshita?
Yeah.
I thought for a minute he was going to fuck it up for him because the commentators seemed confused what he was doing. Awesome match. Awesome match. So, yeah. Darby Allin is probably the most consistent wrestler in AEW history. Honestly, we're being real. I mean, that dude's prolific. So, yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Great stuff.
That's it, yeah. But yeah, Charlie, you enjoy seeing Takeshita spread his legs.
You can now go back, when you go back and watch Charlie's face. Because I was kind of like, my brain like put together what you said, and I thought, he just said that. And I looked at Charlie, and Charlie was like this.
I was trying real hard to be professional about it. Because I was like, you definitely did not realise what you said, so I was just going to let it slide.
Yeah, we'll power through it, man. I couldn't tell you what I said 2 minutes ago.
Yeah. I've been on for an hour. I was just kind of
happens, nodding along with what you were saying, but I was like giggling.
Your review of the match was, I mean, spot on. That's why I didn't cut you off, you know?
Yeah. Good boy up though. Very funny.
Yep. Don Callis, victory lap backstage with Takeshita. Says that Takeshita and Hobbs versus Sting and Darby at Daly's place, and they're gonna make Sting go 25-1. So
praying for our boy Stinger. His exchange with Takeshita on Saturday has kept me up for the last 4 nights. I haven't been able to sleep since. Yeah. Hopefully this goes okay. And what do you think the finish is here? Interesting, right? Like, I don't know.
Someone's getting pinned.
It feels like he might lose this match. I feel like they may lose here. I don't know, Charlie. I don't think Sting's going to lose his last match, you know?
No.
So, like...
It depends what the last match is, actually, what angle they go with it.
For sure. I just think in Greensboro, I think they're going to have Sting win his last. I think. I could be wrong on that. I don't really have a strong opinion, like whether they should or not. I just think he will. And I don't know. Like, if it was Fletcher, and it would be like, they're going to pin Kyle. But Hobbs and Takeshita, I'm not sure.
They'll probably pin Hobbs.
Probably.
That also.
Actually, no, they'll probably pin Takeshita.
Just do the thing like Darby gets his win back on him.
Yeah, Darby gets the pin.
Yeah, they'll probably pin.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah, I don't think. I don't think that. I think that they're trying to protect Takeshita and Hobbs as much as you may be worrying about.
Yeah, I don't. To be clear, I don't like really care either way. I just thought it was interesting when he said
Pop.
I was confused when he said that it
Said
would
the
be
quiet
hard.
thing out loud there, right? That was one.
Yeah.
I don't actually give a fuck. I was just
Anyway, Continental Crown #1 contenders match. Trent Barretto gets the win over Vikingo, Brian Keith, Brian Cage. So yeah, it's nice little usage of time. I don't think this really is quite the prestige that Eddie's Triple Crown should be dealt with, but as a match in a vacuum, I've got no complaints really. I thought Brian Keith had a pretty good account of himself. Brian Cage and Vikingo always look pretty good when they get TV matches. Trent Barretto is wildly consistent as well when he's on TV. So yeah, nice match, Charlie.
Yeah, it was a nice little TV match. I didn't honestly think it was anything like blow away. Like there wasn't really anything that stood out to me in this match.
Mm-hmm.
I did think Brian Keith looked pretty good, and I'm very glad that he is getting TV time in AEW. And you got to think that at this point he's signed with them, but they just haven't announced it yet. Like he's been getting fairly big spots considering like the depth of their roster already. Like there's anyone you could have slotted into this sort of match, but he got the spot. So yeah, Trent winning didn't really shock me, to be honest. I didn't think that it was going to be Vikingo because of the Triple Crown has a New Japan belt in, and he's still with AAA at the moment. So they did this graphic very, very clever, the way that they announced it, because they were just like, yeah, it's just for the Continental belt. But then they called it the Triple Crown on commentary. It's just like, you're just getting around companies being weird, but it was whatever, to be honest. But yeah, decent little match. I did not need Danhausen in it. Why was he here? Like, I know he's with, like, best friends or whatever, but bro, like, he should be nowhere near a match like this. Like,
Yeah.
it is for the #1 contendership to Eddie fucking Kingston. Like, what are we doing? Why, like, it really
Triple
frustrates
Crown.
me.
The Continental Classic's just finished, and this is kind of like how we get the first contender for for it.
it was very mid card.
It's it's like Charlie said. It's like, I know she wasn't saying it to put the match down, but she was talking about someone being added to the match. She was like, yeah, anyone could have been added to this match. It was like, yeah, it literally was one of those four ways. Like literally anyone on the AEW roster could have been in this match, and it would have kind of like fit. But it's like, you know, I think people were kind of hoping this would be seen as kind of like a I don't want to say second world title, but above the international, at least above the international and TNT. Do you know what I mean? So,
yeah,
I don't think this
it was
is
worth
kind
it
of
though for Eddie on commentary. I think.
I mean, he could have been on commentary for any match, couldn't he?
Shouted out
I was just transitioning to one of the best things on the show, which was when Tony Schiavone's, I think it was Coke Zero, got knocked over, which was. As soon as Eddie sits down, his goal is not to get anything over other than just annoy the announce team. So yeah, no, it was fun having him on commentary. But no, I agree with you guys completely. I mean, if you had concerns about what this belt is going to be, this did not this match did not really convince you otherwise. This very much felt like it was just a new, basically, a second international title, basically, right? In terms of the role. If this exact graphic was shown up 2 months ago, and I said it's a #1 contendership for what belt? You'd have said the international belt, probably, right? Like, that's the way it felt. Now, the real key with this belt is what it does. Like, what is it going to do on those New Japan shows, right? Like, what is it going to do outside of AEW? Because that's the thing that should give it some flair and kind of identity of its own. On AEW TV, it's like, it is another belt. There's just many of them to represent that belt. So, we'll see.
I know exactly who I want to be Eddie's first competitor. What am I trying to say? Yeah, I know who I want him to face in New Japan as his first challenger. That's what I was looking for. It should be that Gabe Kidd match that we never got, because he had to pull out of it in April, and Gabe had a pretty decent match against Orange Cassidy, who was international champion at the time. So unfair belt comparisons, but yeah, man.
Yeah,
I think that is the match that we should be doing when he on Battle in the Valley. Honestly,
that feels like a New Japan. Yeah, it feels like, I don't know if it'll be that show because it's soon, as you said, but that does feel like a New Japan US show main event, right? Gabe and King. I mean, look, we talk about it a lot. There's obviously more than enough talent to give Eddie big time matches for this belt. So My thing is like, I don't mind doing these kind of TV defenses. I just hope when we roll around to like pay-per-views, I hope that it's treated like it's a lame phrase, but let's be real, a second world title. We'd rather it be treated that way than a second international title or a second, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's the key to me.
And then we had Adam Page. He arrives at the building. He's pissed off. I don't know why he's so late, Charlie. Maybe you've got the answers. He interrupts a Matt Menard backstage interview. I'm sure he's about to talk about the Daniel Garcia main event, but doesn't get a chance to because Hangman Adam Page is pissed off. He's looking for a fight, and he's willing to fight anyone who's even looks at him weird. It seems so. This is the element going into the main event, which is Swerve Strickland versus Daniel Garcia. Really, really good main event. Swerve Strickland, really, of course. Obviously, I know like some of the your more typical established AEW top stars, like Bryan Danielson and Moxley were in Japan for WrestleKingdom. MJF, of course, is taking some time off. He's injured. Kenny Omega, of course, he's got his health issues. So a lot of the top stars weren't on the show. So I think like Swerve Strickland being in his main event was like a good message from AEW that he is one of those guys. Garcia as well, of course, it's great to see him. We've kind of already loosely spoke about Garcia a bit earlier on about how we want to see him go on and do more big things and how great of a talent he is and how he's still developing and getting better each time we see him. And this was another example of that. I think Garcia does a pretty good job in. Someone said in a super chat about like how Bryan Danielson has like these special matches, but they're also different.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously he's not Bryan Danielson. No, they don't peak. The matches don't quite peak the same. But I do really, really appreciate how Daniel Garcia does give you different looks in different matches that he has.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was really defiant in his Swerve Strickland match, and that seems to be kind of like a tone he's trying to set for 2024. Like he's not going. No, he would rather die than have another year like he did in 2023. And I think you kind of get that impression through his wrestling because he's beyond his years as an in-ring storyteller. I think he's great, and I know Swerve is kind of like the headline coming out of this, especially with the angle after. But I'm a big DG fan. I'm a big DG fan. I think. Hopefully he does have a big year in 2024, man. I really am rooting for him. So, but yeah, Swerve looked great as well. Of course, Swerve is on a roll at the moment, and really good main event, Joe.
Yeah, absolutely. It was. You could definitely see like them figuring out the way they're going to work together, right? A little bit early on. It's like it's kind of a unique styles clash, and also Garcia is still finding himself as an in-ring babyface, right? Like he's still figuring that out, and he's getting better at that every single week. And I think this was no different. So, yeah, a good match. And I think, look, from what I could understand, I didn't see a lot about it, but it didn't seem like this rated very well. But I actually, like, as a fan of the show, really appreciated this being the main event. I thought this was like, it felt fresh. It was a show of faith to Swerve as a star to be like the A side of a main event like this. And it's one of those things where it's like, look, it may not rate well immediately, but I think these are the kind of sacrifices you have to make, actually. I think it's kind of training the audience that Swerve is that if he's wrestling on the show, it's a main event no matter who he's against. Garcia, his reaction, I think, is really, really encouraging. Now, obviously, it's a weird one with him because he was super over, what was it, in like late 2022 with the JAS BCC thing. But we have to be honest in saying that, that had been called off dramatically by the time he entered the Continental Classic. He's leaving that tournament getting much stronger reactions. So I think both these guys were kind of, examples of how that tournament helped. Swerve went into it in a good position, but it kept his momentum rolling. So I thought this was a natural follow-up. So, I liked the match, but I almost liked it more as like a signal of things to come. I thought it was pretty bold, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, it was. Charlie, what did you think of the match?
I enjoyed it. I feel like because they were figuring out the way that they would work together, I feel like they could definitely have a better match in the future.
Yeah.
But that's the case with a lot of first. I think this was a first time match in AEW. It was the first time match in AEW I think it was just the first time match in general. Like that's always the case with this sort of thing. But like I do think that it main eventing was like very much a statement to the AEW fan base of like these are guys you need to be watching out for this year. Like these are going to be some of our main players, which is what you would hope for people like Swerve and Daniel Garcia. But I really enjoyed the match. I think that like when they really got into it, they worked really well together, and it was just a fun time, man. Like it was kind of like I didn't think that Danny was gonna win. Like it's Swerve is on such a roll right now. It would have shocked if he had. But like man, like they just did really well. I think it was a pretty good TV main event.
Yeah, it was really good. And Joe, you mentioned like how it didn't rate well, and like in fairness, I guess in terms to like, I guess singular to like this segment, as in the match, like the last 15 minutes of the show, like literally every single segment on Dynamite last night went down quarter to quarter.
Right.
In viewership. I think the only thing that actually drew in the 1849 was Christian Cage. That so you know it's it was the trend for the rest of the show for that to be the lowest rated. Do you know what I mean? It's not like it was going down and then it dropped off huge. It just kind of continued
I appreciate that. And
slowly decline
I think
throughout the show.
a good example of why I think this is an important choice is watching the show. I was looking at the graphics going, what's the main event? And when I kind of realized it was Swerve, I kind of doubted that. And the reason for that is, while we all think Swerve is the next world champion, he's not yet been established, just not because anyone's fault, it's just the way it works, where like if he's the star in the match, it's an immediate main event. You know, so like in the same way
of course.
If Danielson wrestles on the show, he could wrestle me and it's like a feasible main event, right? It's like you have to make that step and you have to kind of tell the audience that. And in the same way, look, Garcia, there's a rebuild going on here, right? I mean, it's been, a lot of the audience is going to see him on a graphic and say, oh, Danny's going to lose the match. And that's okay. You do have to be wary of making that something that's like going to stick with him. You know, like after this week, I would not have him lose for a while.
No.
When I say a while, I mean like a month or so. I don't think you need to have him losing on TV much more consistently than he has been the last couple months. But what do you think like the end game would be in an ideal world for Garcia? Like, what's his like arc? What's his belt that he may eventually get? What's his thing going to be? Or is it something with Danielson? What do we reckon? I think Copeland's going to get that TNT belt, but I'd really love to.
TNT
I think TNT would be.
Garcia working with Christian in ring would be awesome, wouldn't it? If we could do that, it'd be sweet.
Yeah. Like Christian trying to play on the fact that no one's really truly looked out for Garcia in AEW, like trying to really play on his emotions.
Get him in the family.
Try and indoctrinate him. Like I think it could be some really compelling TV, and Danny's got the character work to make it work, and Christian's Christian, so
right. If you're trying to become a confident in-ring babyface, who better to work with than Christian, right? Like, I don't even know split crowd in that situation. So I don't know. I think there's a few different options because they have like 18 belts, but that one jumps out to me. Again, I don't think it will happen because I think Copeland's going to get that belt, but we shall see.
Yeah, and it was fair to bring up the rating thing as well because, like you mentioned, it's like obviously Swerve was like a part of this match, and Swerve is someone that they have invested in recently. He's had big pay-per-view wins, and he's all over the TV. He's getting promo time, he's getting pre-tape time, he's getting it. They invested into him. He's the guy that they've invested into outside of, I guess, the Max stuff in recent months. You know, he would be the person that you'd circle and be like, this is the person that they've really mostly tried to make a point of pushing, making the next world champion, the next top guy, whatever you want to call it. And, obviously people did not, tune in for his main event, which, it's still, like you said, it's still early days. And I think you have to kind of stick to your guns with these things.
Yeah.
And really kind of let it play out before you kind of put a pin in it and be like, okay, this guy's not drawing, because it would be way too harsh to even have those kind of considerations at this point in time. But, so far, it doesn't seem to have I guess last night, next week he could draw a huge quarter. Who knows? But, last night was, like I said, the whole show was kind of declining, and he didn't really do anything to like bring it back up. But you can't blame him. You can't really say that his push has been a flop because of it, because it's still early days. It's still early days.
It's 1 week in the first leg of this thing, right? Like,
yes,
it is what it is. It's we'll see.
Dynamite was good, man. A lot of people were very happy with it, especially the AEW faithful. Very happy with a lot of things that they were seeing, even though a lot of the top stars had to miss the show. Which I guess from my point of view, not from where I was sitting, I couldn't quite get my teeth really into anything in particular, Although I did enjoy pretty much most of the show, pretty much all the show, really. I don't think I said anything I didn't like on the show.
The main event, the closing angle.
Yes, you're right. Hangman Adam Page.
Of course, Hangman Adam Page, Swerve Strickland, Hangman. Yeah, how could I do that to Charlotte? Hangman Adam Page storms out, pissed off after Swerve gets the win. Come face to face. They brawl. And, yeah, man. Charlie, pick it apart for us.
Bro, they are going to... This is AEW's long-term feud. I'm curious that they've gone back to it so soon, but it does kind of feel like they're going to be having a triple threat with Samoa Joe at Revolution. That is very much what it feels like. They're both gunning. Like, Swerve's gunning for Joe, and Hangman is gunning for anyone that he can pick a fight with. So he's just going to force his way into this, man. And listen, I would rather see the two singles matches, but Swerve and Hangman, there's just something undeniable about these two in AEW. They've got something really special with this, so I'm not mad at them going back to it. Like, Hangman's got a right to still be pissed off. Like, he got absolutely brutalized in his match. Like, I don't know, man. I'm excited about it. I will always be excited about this feud. I think it's something special. They've struck gold here.
What do you think, Joe?
I'm more excited about this potential triple threat direction than I had expected I would be. One of the things I like about it is, for all of the Devil Angle's faults, they actually did forecast this, right? Like, they did the thing with Hangman. They had to stare down with Swerve, even if that was more brief with Joe. And I think I'm not a huge fan of triple threat matches to closing pay-per-views being for the world title, but this one does actually feel like a logical way of doing it, in which you're adding another chapter to, as Charlie mentioned, kind of this long-term feud you're building around with Swerve and Hangman, but you're doing it without burning a because as a singles match, what do you do after that Texas Death Match? Right? You can't go back to as a singles for a little bit, because God Almighty try to kill each other.
Yeah.
But this gives you like a kind of middle step, and Joe will give it its own flavor anyway. And I think we'd all like to see Joe wrestle both of these guys. So, yeah, I think this is, if ever there was a time to do some triple threat pay-per-view main event business, this feels like it. It feels like Swerve's going to leave with that belt at the end of this. And I think my general thing on this show was it just felt very I was very polished, There was times in AEW TV that I loved where it never felt that. At times it was almost, that was why it was awesome, right? It was so chaotic.
Yeah.
Well, this show had a real poise, and it felt like it knew what it wanted to do. It immediately kind of told you this is where we're headed for the next pay-per-view cycle. They got 2 months to kind of stretch that out. I came out of this very positive on the direction, to be honest. More so than I even anticipated I'd be.
Yeah, man. Successful Dynamite. Successful Dynamite for sure. Like I said, as long as the fans are happy, then can't really criticise that part of it too much. Anyway, Will Chisholm, $5, appreciate it. It's crazy how during COVID, Anna Jay and Jungle
crazy.
Boy was really over. I don't know what happened. Well, unfortunate circumstances, brother. Ibrahima Niang, very recognisable face. $4.99, appreciate it as always, brother. Whatever they do with Daniel Garcia, I hope he stays his own man, to be honest, and ascends on his own. Bullet Club. The BCC achieve nothing and are creatively unproductive. No one mentioned him being in the Blackpool Combat Club, did they?
I think because I mentioned Danielson. See, I would like to see him do stuff with Danielson, not necessarily do stuff with the entire.
That's what it was before, really.
Yeah, I'm ready to move on from the Blackpool Combat Club. Also, at this point, super cool concept and had its moments, but it does feel like something that kind of detracts from each guy's individual, as an asset individually a little bit. But I think Garcia and Danielson could do a lot with that. I think so.
Yeah.
Well, cheers and $5, appreciate it. I love the show, but Kenny and the Bucks not on TV still hurts AEW, feels weird. Well, of course, that's only natural. He's literally the elite. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I know we've got Hangman, and Hangman is prominently featured at the top of the show. And, well, not even prominently featured. He only done a quick promo and a little brawl at the end. But, he was in the main event. So, but of course it's weird.
I do think the Bucks could be back next week, though. They're in Daly's place. They're in Daly's place.
Yeah, but
I hope that's
why?
I hope that's good.
They made a big point about the tag division tonight. They're in Daly's place next week. It just kind of feels like that when they're going to come back. I'm also coping. I miss seeing my favorite tag team on TV.
Okay? No, yeah, I get it. I really hope that when this thing comes back, this act that they've supposedly got up their sleeve, I really do hope it's better than I'm seeing it in my head, because it sounds kind of terrifying.
I'm absolutely dreading it.
Yeah. Yeah, because look, the thing with the Bucks is 2023 was a weaker year for them, but it's 1 year after many years of being prolific. Heel Bucks is their best form as a TV act. There's some matches to be made. It's a natural direction. I'm in on it as but the actual idea itself does sound very scary. So I'm trying not to anticipate it too much. We shall see kind of how it lands. Maybe we're better than I'm fearing. I don't know. Maybe we'll find out next week. I don't know. Charlie's usually got the scoop on these things,
Jeez, fortune teller on these things. But let's talk about WrestleKingdom. We'll do more of a highlight review of this, because this is a longer card, of course, and we're coming up to 2 hours here. So, where should we start? We'll talk more broadly about the final 4 matches, and then we'll just kind of talk about any other things that popped us, I guess. So, El Desperado. Finally, Charlie. Finally.
My boy.
Finally, he gets it done versus Roman in the Dome.
He did.
Wins the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title. Very good match, as expected. These two are very, very familiar with each other. But, yeah.
My God, they've had 15 matches against each other. It's crazy.
Yeah, but yeah, Charlie was very happy to see this result.
I was. El Desperado is one of my favorite wrestlers. I don't know when it happened. I just got very tucked in on El Desperado at some point, and it stuck. But yeah, this match was I really enjoyed it. And I actually really loved this match. I thought it was pretty great. But I can see why to some people it was just it's just another Despy Hiromu match. We've seen this 17 times.
Yeah, and they've had better matches, admittedly, in my opinion. Matches, but still,
it was nowhere near the heights they can reach. But I feel like they did enough to justify the title change, which is what they needed to do here. So didn't overstay its welcome. The Dome energy was great for it. Very happy. Loved Despy. Very excited to see him with the belt again.
Yeah, man, it was a cool moment. Nonetheless. Then next, we had the freeway match for the new IWGP Global Heavyweight title. Jon Moxley, Will Ospreay, and Charlie's favorite wrestler, David Finlay.
God bless.
Yeah, man. Anyone who's watched any podcast with me know that I'm not. I'm not a fan of your freeways and your triple threats, and even just now when we was talking about Samoa Joe, Hangman, and Swerve, I was quite...
You did not look pleased.
Yeah, man. I thought this was a good time for what it was worth. I'm probably not as high on it as everyone else. I'm looking at Cage Match right now. It's an 8.5. I wouldn't have it that high, but a good time nonetheless. And yeah, I think David Finlay. I know that a lot of people kind of what's he doing in here, and of course, like Moxley versus Ospreay probably would have been optimal, but
Probably,
Finlay was the guy that decided was walking out with the title anyway. I did not think that his inclusion was like that much of a detriment to the match. I thought he had some decent set pieces in there. And obviously Ospreay and Mox, they did some really cool stuff as well. So I'd actually be really interested to see.
Out of him.
Yeah, I'd really be interested to see Mox versus Ospreay. But yeah, man.
Tony was not gonna like. AEW would want that match in an AEW ring. I feel.
Yeah, do it in the AEW ring.
But bro, David Finlay, like, say what you want about him, but he was so game during this match to get the absolute shit kicked out of him. Like, they really, like, he played his role to perfection, and he's new champ, bro. And his first challenger is going to be fucking Nick Nemeth, which is not what I could have predicted, frankly, when Nick Nemeth walked into the Tokyo Dome. But it's going to be funny as fuck. I'm very, very here for it. Ospreay's entrance. Oh my god! Like nothing hits like elevated in the Tokyo Dome. That shit's crazy, man.
Yeah, man. David Finlay walks away with the new belt. Decent match. Comes face to face with Nick Nemeth. They brawl. It's big business. People are throwing money in the air. It's crazy. We're going to talk a little bit more about Nemeth, but yeah, Joe, I think you managed to catch this one, didn't you?
I catch like the final 4 minutes of it, and I'm going to be polite in saying that I think that's a fair way to judge the match. And if I did give my opinion on that 4 minutes, it probably wouldn't be nice to anyone involved. So I'll just say no. I was actually really bummed out I couldn't watch WrestleKingdom. It was, even when I've been really out on New Japan, it's like it's a show you watch, So I'm gonna try and desperately catch up. But I did see the angle with our friend Nick Nemeth, and I gotta say, I wasn't really that interested in this post WWE run, even as a fan of Dolph, because I didn't really think he'd care, and I wasn't even sure he'd do anything beyond signing autographs or whatever. But all it took was him showing up looking like that at the Dome, and I was like, well, guess I'm back in, Look, boss, man, look tremendous.
Yeah, man, he had some real swagger about him. He's in the black suit,
Yeah, hell of a walk he had. I think Tape Machine said he's a disgustingly good-looking human being with his hair tied up, and co-sign. Immediately retweeted that. Good Tape Machine's tweet. Look, I don't want to disrespect Charlie, but Finlay wasn't on the big board of matches for me personally. He had some good matches with David Finlay Jr.'s dad. Trying my best to be positive. But I don't know how his style will translate, to be honest. It's always interesting when guys have been he's worked WWE his whole career. That's wild, When Shelton did his stuff in Japan, it took him a while. The New Japan part of his run, you could see he was adjusting. And then when he got to when they did the Noah Suzuki Gun thing, he was a lot more comfortable. It may take him a similar amount of time, but the difference is I feel like this Finlay match maybe something happens in the States, right?
I don't think Dolph will need the adjustment period the same way that Shelton did, or even close to it. I think Dolph is
I don't know.
I know it's pretty much all been WWE. Well, it has all been WWE literally, but he's I don't know, man. I think he's got really good ring IQ and stuff. I think he'll just take to it, and he'll get in there with the Finlay match will be pretty decent, I reckon. But I think his real bag in New Japan would be wrestling the young, the Musketeers and people like that.
His offense worries me a little bit. I think he leans into his amateur wrestling background which was something that I know Arn Anderson always wanted him to do in WWE, and like he was kind of discouraged from doing because they wanted him to be like just a bumping babyface, or a bumping heel for that matter. I do think he's going to need to add some offensive weaponry because he's not. Look, he's still a great athlete, but he's not the athlete he was. Obviously, he's 42 years old, 43 years old. But I tend to agree with your general conclusion, Monty, which is that he's a smart wrestler and he'll figure it out. It also will help that, again, I think the Finley match could happen in the States. And then, you know, if he works one of those New Japan US shows, that crowd will treat him like he's fucking The Rock, you know? Like, I mean, so we'll see. I'm happy he's doing it, though. Like, it's cool. I really didn't know he'd be super motivated to do this stuff. So I'm thrilled he's doing it. I'm excited to see how he does.
Yeah, man. He is honestly the last person I expected to appear in the Tokyo Dome. So I genuinely burst out laughing because I was just so shocked that he just walked up. Because it was during the tag match. So I was just like, they're teasing a tag run in Japan? Like, and then he attacked David Finlay. I was like, all right, I'm in. I'm sold. You got me. Like, funny as fuck.
Yeah, it was hilarious seeing poor Ryan, man, just walking out there. New Japan cameraman barely on him, you know. Didn't get tagged in the tweet.
He needs to work on his walk, bro. He was severely outwalked by his brother. Do you notice that? The technique of walking is very important thing. If you're gonna do it,
there's levels, man.
Yeah. I mean, Nick was. I mean, that's one of the best walks I've seen in years. You know, the shoulder swings. I mean, it was tremendous. Yeah, he looked tremendous. He genuinely did feel like when you watch old school like New Japan shows and it cuts the crowd and there's something there's like a US promotion rep in the building. He genuinely did feel like that, and it was fucking awesome, legitimately. The promo he cut afterwards where he did like he's screaming I love the business thing for a belt that just got invented was godly because, of course, hopefully it all works out, you know. He did. Hopefully it all works out. I didn't watch his videos that he posted. I haven't had any time today. Clearly I would have watched, if I had time, I would have watched WrestleKingdom, not that. But I'm sure they were good, right?
I haven't seen them.
I mean, it's another video of a guy breaking out of prison or some shit.
Beast.
Doing a runaway, but this one has zombies in it.
I did see the clip of him super kicking a zombie's head off.
He does that.
Well, it sounds...
Maybe
I should have watched this.
It was very it was very
Hollywood.
Shaun of the Dead is what I was going for.
All right, let's get to the real grown up stuff. Come on, you know, let's really take it up a notch, you know, because sometimes there's wrestling for adults, you know, and that's what we got here with Bryan Danielson versus Kazuchika Okada. Which is, I don't know, my feelings going in, I had like mixed emotions going into this match because like the first match I was so excited for, and obviously, you know, Bryan did get injured, but I think even like outside of that, the match wasn't quite trending the way that I quite wanted it to. Forbidden Door, it didn't quite scratch the itch that I had when I saw the graphic, you know. Not to say that I was like disappointed, but I was slightly disappointed. Although it was a good match, I'm not saying that the match stunk or anything like that. Obviously, Bryan got injured as well. I'm very well aware of that. But still. So when this came around, I was very much like, I was almost shitting myself, you know? Like, just on my knees hoping this would be what I wanted it to be the first time, you know? And it was that. And it was that, you know? It was genuinely that this absolutely achieved what I needed it to. It scratched the itch that I've been having for 6 months or so now. Okada versus Bryan, you know, the best of the best versus each other. This is how this was presented to us, and they delivered on that promise. I thought Bryan was probably not the first time I've ever said this on the podcast. I thought Bryan was genuinely masterful in this. Okada as well. I thought his performance, because obviously he didn't get injured at Forbidden Door, but I thought his performance singly was like a lot better than his Forbidden Door one here. A lot more locked in, a lot more expressive, and just better in every way, genuinely. Bryan Danielson was just a master at work. You know, just genuinely probably the best wrestler that's ever stepped foot in a wrestling ring, to be very honest with you. And I know it's kind of something that we say every time he has a good match, but it's like he's just different, you know. He's very, very, very special. And I've said it a few times this show, but it's just the truth of the matter, isn't it, Joe Hulbert?
It is, and it's actually almost, as weird as it is to say, it was almost more striking here in this setting for whatever reason, you know, because you just kind of just see how truly great that dude is. Not that any of us need the reminder. This was very, this just felt like such an absolute treat as a wrestling fan. Dragon making the walk at the Dome, having the Japanese announcers call, like, just that whole vibe, you know, like it really felt like something that I dreamed up. It was really, really cool. So yeah, I love this just generally as like a vibe and a feel, but the match itself was superb. I mean, super urgent and focused, very simple match, right? In terms of outline, like really, you know, you have the old kind of Ricky Steamboat adage of both guys had a body part to work, and that was the focus of the match, right? And like Okada kind of ramping up the nastiness, and Danielson's work on the arm was outrageous, honestly. Like anyone who intends to ever work a limb should study what Bryan Danielson did on Okada's arm and shoulder. Beautiful escalation. You had the moment with the yes chants. The only thing I said it earlier is I do think, and I very seldom have said this about an Okada match at any point in my life, I think they could have gone a little longer. I'll rewatch it. Maybe I'm wrong. It did feel to me like they still had room. They had rungs to climb still. That's how good the match was going. You know, it felt like if Danielson had kicked out, I think it would have totally worked. Not anything crazy. I'm talking like, 3 to 5 more minutes, but that's a gut feeling thing. Maybe I'll feel different when I rewatch it, but yeah, I mean, beautiful match. Of course.
I tend to agree based off my first watch as well. But Charlie, probably safe to say it's the match of the year so far. In 5 days. Well, we've just gone into the 5th day here in the UK. So,
bro, like I was at that Forbidden Door match, and we all knew that we all hoped that this one was going to be better, but it just blew it out the water. It felt like a completely different match as well, which is crazy. But Danielson in the Tokyo Dome is like, it's special. Like him embracing the audience there and doing the yes chants, because like I know people feel how they feel about the yes chants, and I'm glad that he doesn't overuse it in AEW because I feel like he's very much going past the need for it. But when you're in an environment like that, and it's a crowd that like you're foreign to them, and they still know that part of you, and they still see that to such an integral part of your character, like, and they're trying to will you on with this thing that was like so big in the States that it made its way across. Like, I don't know, it was a real special moment, and I'm really glad that they got to do this match and it went as well as it did, and it's just the best match of the year so far, and I genuinely don't know who's going to top it. Like, which is, I know it's crazy to say at fucking like 5 days into the year or whatever, but we said the same about Ospreay Omega last year, and that ended up being my match of the year. So
yeah, so what was that, January 4 last year? So
yeah,
you know, that one held out for the rest of the 361 days. You know, so this one might do the same. Yeah, I think what else can we say that hasn't already been said about either of them? To be honest, Okada and Bryan. So main event time. Naito gets the job done. He wins the IWGP World Heavyweight title from Sonata. Gets to do his Tokyo Dome roll call at the end of the show. Everyone's very happy. It's not his first main event that he's actually won in the Tokyo Dome, but it's the first time he's actually got to do like the stuff at the end, say goodbye to the fans, send everyone home happy, and do like, that's a big thing in Japan, obviously, especially in New Japan at the Tokyo Dome. So everyone was very happy to see him get that moment, and everyone wanted to see him get that moment. The crowd was so behind Naito even though it was at the end of like however many hour show.
It's like 4.5 hours in at this point.
Yeah, and this was by far the loudest they were that I saw all night. For Naito specifically, just supporting Naito and getting behind Naito and chanting for Naito, and I thought his performance, what's the word I'm looking for? His performance, made how much the crowd get behind him worthwhile. I thought Naruto was tremendous in this, and it's hilarious because he has like 4 or 5 of these in him a year.
Yeah.
But it's like, if you're a fan of like peak Naruto, it can be very frustrating to watch him in the 2020s because we know what he's doing. T-shirt Naruto. We've even came up with names for it. He's chilling. His knees are fucked. He's this, he's that. His eye was fucked for the longest time. But like I said, he's got 4 or 5. He's got like a handful of matches in him still a year when the lights are bright, and he's motivated to really do something like he was in the semi and the final of the G1, where he just pulls out these like performance of the year candidate worthy performances. Like and he reminds you that he is still like a very special top tier wrestler, in times where you may think, that he might be, slowly like losing it or something, but he brings it back and he drops he drops 60 points, Joe. It's what he does, and yeah, really cool to see him kind of get this moment. Probably one of the best moments of his career, if not the best moment of his career, even though it wasn't the most like hyped up main event that he's been a part of. But still, Naito, what a wrestler. Sonata, of course, he had a pretty long reign, pretty longer than a lot of people were expecting. He did get applauded by the New Japan fans in the Dome as he was making his way to the back. He did make him quite emotional, which was it's cool to see how much it means to these people to be able to main event the Dome and things like that. So I thought this was a success. I thought this actually over-delivered most people's expectations. I know some people had quite high expectations for this, but a lot of people were like, how's this going to follow Okada Danielson? Why is this main eventing over Okada Danielson? Why is Sonada this? Blah, 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 blah. But like I said, I thought this over-exceeded a lot of people's expectations, Charlie.
I do agree. It definitely blew my expectations out the water. I was fairly deep into being awake at this point, so I was like, can I really stay awake for a Naito Sonata match? And that's genuinely not a knock on either of them. Like, I was never really like fully locked in on Naito. Like, I enjoy his work. I think that he's a really great wrestler, but he was never like Kenny for me. Like, Kenny was the one that I was always locked in on at that point. So he was never that for me, but I know he is for a lot of people. And Sonada. There's not a whole lot to say, but I think that they built this match really well, and it went like, I don't think it overstayed its welcome. I think that they really delivered on it, and it was genuinely just a really great moment to end the show, I think, and people like feel some type of way about the evil attack at the end. And it's like, I also agree because it's House of Torture. But anyone that's been following the story, it's like Evil used to be he used to be one of Naito's boys. He was in LIJ, and I don't know. Sonata made the save, and it made for a really cool moment. Like,
yeah,
as much as
it was quite poetic.
Yeah, I don't want to see the Evil match. Like, I genuinely really hope that they do not go that direction. But it's New Japan. Who knows?
Yeah,
what's
they had to tease it again. Like,
Yeah,
oh no, Naito's
Yeah.
moments being ruined again, and it's Evil
Yeah.
this time, former LIJ, but you're saved by another former LIJ in Sonata.
Yeah.
Like I said, it was quite poetic.
It was a really cool moment. No, because if they weren't going to be in the roll call, but he still got to have that moment with them. Like, I don't know. I thought it was a special way to end the WrestleKingdom this year. I think it worked out well. They've been telling this story since the New Japan Cup, like, last year. So they told this story since March of 2023. That's how long it played out.
The Evil thing kind of popped me, I can't lie, because it was just so like, I don't have the same level of disdain for House of Torture because I just refuse to watch it,
I cannot. Oh,
So like
it
the
drives
idea
me
of
nuts.
them like running out like the heel, you know, like,
Mhm.
oh no, it's happening tonight over again, and it's just fucking evil, you know. It did pop me, to be honest.
I wanted to ask how I was interested how the tag title match went, because in the World Tag League final they went 40 minutes in one of like
They did
the
not
most.
know. They did not go that long.
Yeah, like I asked someone and they said they went like 10. It popped me huge.
Yeah.
Like, you had your match already. You gotta get it over with, fellas. You know, was it any good, Charlie? How did the tag title match go?
It was alright. It was fine.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it because I like El Fantasma and Bishamon, but it was a tag.
Yeah.
Neither of the tag matches hit the way that any of the tag matches. There was 3 of them on the show. None of them hit really how I wanted them to, and I was kind of disappointed. But win some, you lose some.
Go yeah.
Anything else on Wrestle Kingdom that we want to talk?
TJP
Tanahashi belted
debuted
himself
a
up.
He did. Very funny.
Weird.
I don't know if anyone else remembers this, but when this belt was introduced, it was like titled as this thing that's going to be for the younger talent. Like there was loads of younger talent in the tournament, and then Zach won it, and we were all kind of like, "That's a choice." So I thought he was going to drop it to Kosei Fujita eventually, who's the young boy in TMDK, and then he dropped it to Tanahashi today, and I was like, "Okay, I guess."
He saw this time limit business and said, "That sounds
It
like
was
the
like,
belt for me,
"That's for
brother."
me.
Yeah.
I'm
gonna watch.
They had a
that.
great match. It was a really good match.
I saw a lot of positivity about the match, and they only went like 8 minutes or something. God bless the ace. Figured it out. He's nailed it. 8 minutes, title win, the dome. New era. He's gonna be doing this for the next 20 years.
Zack Sabre Jr. looks so godly at the moment, though. Like that is a real wrestler.
They should honestly,
locked in, mate. He is
Charlie, you nailed it earlier. They should honestly do that Joe match. Like legitimately, that's such a cool match to just throw out on a Collision TV main event. Like, we need to bully them into doing that, I think.
Yeah, the 2 tag matches were what they were.
I do want to say, shout out Dan
Shingo.
Maloney, because
Driller?
like this time, Driller Maloney, I can never call him Driller, it's so unserious. Like this time last year, he was like still making his way around the UK indie scene, and now he was like the opening match of WrestleKingdom. That's nuts to see someone that you've followed for so long doing something like that. So it was very cool. I'm very happy for him. They lost the belts, but it is what it is. Spoilers. With this deep into a WrestleKingdom conversation, but spoilers for the opening match.
Yeah, Tamatonga, Shingo got some good reviews.
Bro, that over-delivered.
Yoya versus Yota Tsuji as well. Heard that was pretty good. Yeah, overall, pretty successful episode. pretty successful Wrestle Kingdom 18, I think. It's pretty safe to say. I don't think anyone's calling it terrible or anything like that.
Nah. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, man, Yoya. He was encouraging to see. Fucking hell, he was having an aneurysm in the chat. It was all jokes aside though. It was encouraging to see Yoya have like even as soon as the match got booked, it was quite encouraging, to be honest. Because if you was a fan of Yoya, he'd be one of them in the live chat now. If you are reading, times got pretty worrying, especially if he was the guy that you was the highest on out of the other the young lions at the time, who then went on to become the Musketeers. Obviously, Yoya wasn't named as a Musketeer. It was Ren Narita, Yota, and Shota instead. But, he came back, and it wasn't exactly like the most dramatic comeback or anything like what Tsuji got, But who got the win at Wrestle Kingdom, brother? Big Yoya, I am a big fan of Yoya. I think at the end of the day, no matter how worrying it gets, especially with his excursion in Impact, just being kind of very concerning if you was a fan of his. At the end of the day, though, talent's talent, and I genuinely do think Yoya Uemura is really, really, really talented from the early things that I was seeing of him. I didn't watch a lot of his Impact stuff. I know a lot of people said that he kind of lost a step. Which is hilarious. But You know,
Those excursions.
he'll find his feet again in New Japan, and clearly he had a good match on WrestleKingdom, beat Yota Tsuji, like I mentioned. That's quite the statement, to be honest. Important win for him. And we'll see what 2024 holds for him, because I think he could actually be the one out of the four, to be honest. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with the Musketeers plus Yoya in 2024.
Ain't gonna be Ren Naruto.
Wow. I was going to tweet this earlier, but I might as well just do it on the podcast. I'll probably tweet it on the main account tomorrow. And I'll ask you to, and I'll ask the chat real quick before we get out of it. Takeshita, Kiyomiya, Yoya, and the Three Musketeers. Rank them.
Good God. You've thrown that out 2025. What do you think this is?
Take you a couple minutes. We don't have to do like an elaborate conversation. Just do it. You know.
I'm gonna have to break out the notes out just so I can visualize.
Well, I think poor Ren is going to be. I think he's going to be. Yeah.
So we got Rennet.
7? 6? How many people did you say?
6, I think. 6. Yeah, 6.
Yeah,
Definitely 6.
Yeah, 6. The 1 seed.
Who's the 1 seed going to? Because I think it's Takeshita.
I think Takeshita or Kiyomiya. I think Takeshita. I do like Kaito an awful lot, but I'd go Takeshita, Kaito, Shota and Yuma. I'm like, they're very close for me. I'll go Shota.
Yeah, I think that's very fair, especially considering off sample size for Yoya is not.
Yeah.
It's not really great. Like with Shota, you can just he fucking had a great match with Ospreay fucking 3 weeks ago.
And again,
though,
big Suge, bro.
I was gonna say I've got
as a full package. Suji's like
he's higher. Yeah,
he is the full package. I would put him as second, honestly. I'm real high on Yota Tsuji.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't even disagree. As a top guy, he has that kind of weird vibe too. He's like a weird charisma.
Bro, that grin like with the hood over his face.
Takeshita.
Okay, let's try and do an official WrestlePurists big board here. Okay, is Takeshita our 1 seed?
Yeah,
I think
he's number 1. Okay,
yeah.
And Charlie, you've got 2 Suji.
I've got
right?
Yota. Yeah.
What are you thinking, Monty?
And you're saying Kiyomiya.
Yeah, but I can be swayed.
I had Kiyomiya as third, so.
I think Suge, bro, he's got that weird.
I'm leaning Suge. I'm saying Suji.
All right, 2 seed. 3 we got Kiyomiya. 4 I would go Shota. What about you?
That is the order I'm at.
What are you?
I don't feel like that's also necessarily fair to Yuya because I haven't seen a whole lot of
him. For
as it stands right now.
Close. Yeah. They're close.
I struggle with it.
Yeah.
I really struggle with number 3. I could easily put Yoya at number 3. Genuinely.
Above Kiyomiya?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's interesting. You're real high on him though. I just have a real Shota room and no bias. Like
if he's asked for a link, he's not getting one because we're wrapping up. But
no, we are not debating this for 20 minutes.
We'll let him give his lineup on Worldwide on Monday.
He's already given it in the chat.
Oh,
this has fired him up. This has, bro.
Yeah.
This has fired him up.
It's an interesting one. I mean, Ren immediately being locked in at 6 was.
That's not the only one I'm certain on, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's like I'm more certain on him being 6 than Takeshita being number 1.
I do think if you're just looking at we're starting a promotion tomorrow, I do think Takeshita is the more that I've thought about it, he does feel like number 1 with a bullet, really, because he's just so what he's capable of.
I'm thinking about their 2023s. Yota Tsuji might be over Takeshita.
Well, yeah. If you do that, it gets spooky because Takeshita was Don Callis' backup dancer. But if you're just talking about what he's capable of, Takeshita is, he's a freak, freak of nature.
Yeah.
Yoya's a real talent, man. but I'll concede on this and say Kaito 3, Show of 4 because not close saying like Yoya kind of gets fucked on like sample size. Obviously, all these other guys have had like a full year in New Japan wrestling, guys like Ospreay and stuff, whereas Yoya's been doing bullshit in Impact. So like, you know, but even still, he's still above Renderita by some distance.
Yeah.
So
I was gonna say there's no real distance between like 2 and 4, and then you've just got Renneria at the end. Like,
I saw a picture of him today at the Dome show like, with his get up, and I was just like,
it's brutal. The best thing about that match was the fact that Shota Umino came out on a motorbike.
Yeah.
It's pretty brutal.
I didn't expect that to be very good.
I've never been no, there's no need for me to get into it.
We'll have to revisit this in like 6 months or something.
This all be nice, you know. See.
But I think that's a good. I think that's going to be a good tweet on the WrestlePurists page tomorrow.
Ronnie, do you remember that night when we watched Ren Narita and Buddy Matthews on New Japan Strong, and we were like,
Christ,
we were starved. And I think it was the night you did that all-time great WrestlePurists tweet where it was like, it was the Eddie Hearn one where he goes, savage, fucking savage. Remember that? About Bud Matt? I remember this vividly. We were like the only 2 people in the world that watched it. And Monty tweeted about Buddy Matthews and people were like, what did he do? Has he gone to AEW?
Well, Ren Narita won Wrestler of the Week at some point in 2022.
Wow.
Who did he wrestle? Hold on, I've got it up. Ren Narita versus Tomohiro Ishii at New Japan Battle Autumn. 4.5 stars from
us. Bro. That don't count.
It's Ishii.
Ishii could go 4 with me. Give me
4.5. 4.5.
Yeah, that is higher for the prestigious
WrestlePurists.
That's very high.
It is. It's not the same as a Dave 4.5, which he gives fucking 6 of every week now. Anyway.
Didn't even read
which isn't $5. Appreciate you as always. My daughter, who is 4, started crying because she said the Okada match was great. I've never felt so proud of her.
I've cried a few times watching Okada.
Yeah.
I know. Anyway, guys, we're gonna. If anyone wants to get a quick super chat in or any questions like that, then now's your final chance. But because we're winding down. We spoke about Nick Nemeth in New Japan, going to take over the whole country. Spoke about WrestleKingdom. Spoke about Dynamite. Spoke about Mercedes. Who knows what she's going to be doing, man? Who knows? She's interesting, but all we know is that nothing. You know, all we know is nothing because you never truly know with Mercedes Moné. I guess all we could tell you is that obviously, where is it? Before there was all the trademarks, and that started a conversation, and that led into what was it? Then there was talks at the WWE. There was reports that the talks with WWE fell through. This then prompted everyone who could inquire with AEW, like the talks opened up with you again. Then, a few people did kind of find out, very few select people did find out, but obviously Sean was the person who could put it together and cross-reference it and do the full report like it did. AEW and Mercedes in talks. There was a lot of talk of it potentially being on AEW Dynamite this Wednesday. Over the weekend, the feeling at least, even though it was never confirmed or said it was locked in or signed or anything like that, but the feeling at least from AEW over the weekend was that they were pretty confident that they were going to get Mercedes on Dynamite this week. She was going to come on Wednesday and sign the contract. And then towards the end of the week and start of this week, that got really shaky, in the sense of like, who knows what's going to happen? I'll believe it when I see it. Like the feeling changed from confidence to that. And then obviously she wasn't on the show yesterday, but the report and the stance still seems to be that AEW is, the feeling coming out of there at the moment is that she will be heading there unless something goes wrong. Although, as far as I'm aware, still as of the 5th of January 2024, she has not put pen to paper for any company, as far as I'm aware, but I do not know for sure because this is the most unpredictable woman in professional wrestling. So I think that's all we can kind of tell you as far as Mercedes. I know a lot of it is already reported and stuff. Pretty much all of it is, to be honest, but this is the game we play with Mercedes Moné. So,
Yes.
yeah, we'll see. But like I said, as of now, the reports and the feeling from AEW is that they're still confident she's coming in. It just didn't seem to come to fruition last night. So we'll see. But big fan of Mercedes.
Yep.
Nonetheless,
Sure. Can't wait to see
wherever
her.
she ends up. It's quite hilarious seeing this last thing I'll say actually. It's quite hilarious seeing kind of how like emotionally attached to Mercedes' decision people are, in the sense of like they will be there's WWE fans that will be so disappointed and heartbroken if she shows up in AEW, and there will be so many AEW fans that will be like deflated. And it's like, look at the conversations we had about the women's division today. Like if Mercedes comes in, X, Y, and Z, these things can develop. So there will be a lot of AEW fans literally heartbroken if Mercedes doesn't come in at this point. And then there's me, who's happy just to see her show up anywhere again.
I just want to see her wrestle, man. I don't really.
Yeah, very ready to see her back in a ring.
So yeah, hopefully sooner rather than later. And on that note, we'll wrap it up unless you two have got any other shout outs or anything.
I do have one plug. Will not be on WrestlePurists tomorrow, unfortunately. Tomorrow's the last date that this should be messed up on my schedule. I'm back next week. But I am doing a show tomorrow night at, get ready for this one, at 4:05 a.m. On Saturday morning. And that is 11:05 Eastern after Rampage. That is the old late night grin time slot. We are doing the Golden Grinnies. When I'm done here, I'm going to tweet a link. You can vote. You may not understand many of the awards. That's okay. It makes it funnier, if anything. Our friend Ibu of WrestlePurists is up for 2 awards. He is up for Bob's Bootlicker of the Year, which Monty won last year. And he is also up for Best Grin Guest. Spoiler and say he's got a chance of doing the double with those. So get voting. That is tomorrow night at 11:05 Eastern, which I'm definitely thrilled about that time slot.
Is John Alba a nominee for Best Guest?
He is. Yeah, I think he should win it. To be honest with you,
I think he should win it as well.
But Ibu doing the double would be pretty funny too.
Right, last super chat before we get out. Will Chisholm, appreciate you as always. The Mercedes stuff feels like, where is LeBron going back in the day? Can't talk on it because
the decision. Imagine she did that, bro. So back then, LeBron did a show. They did a thing, the decision. It was like a whole broadcast of him. Imagine Mercedes doing that on like her YouTube, taking my talents to Jacksonville.
Joe, this is literally okay. This is actually the last thing I'll say. It's not even wrestling related. So if you're here for wrestling podcast, you can get out of here now because we're wrapping up. Like, bro, remember when everyone wanted Eden Hazard in 2012? And there was like Spurs, Chelsea, Arsenal. I think Real Madrid and that were in for him even back then. And like he just tweeted it. Like everybody was like, "What's Hazard's decision going to be?" And he tweeted it like, "I've made my decision. I'm going to the champions of Europe." And Chelsea were obviously the Champions League winners at the time. And
my God,
it's always interesting when it's decisions are to be made.
What an interesting career he had, huh? Different show every different day, but yeah, just interesting. Way it all panned out.
I want to talk about this after the air, so I'm wrapping this up. Right. Guys, like, subscribe, appreciate all the super chats. We'll be back, not tomorrow, because Joe Hulbert's skipping the town. Well, he's pulled out. He isn't skipping, he's pulled out. But yeah, we'll be back over the weekend, I'm sure. Maybe even get a Friday watch along on Twitch or something tomorrow. We'll see. Just keep an eye on the WrestlePurists page. And appreciate you for watching. And one last time, like, subscribe. Thanks for the super chats. Peace.